And welcome to this special in-depth interview on the Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Stables Media. I'm Taylor Phillips, along with special guest Richard Goldman. You can follow him on Twitter at RichGoldman7371. He appears to be one of the victims of the Dr. Robert Anderson scandal. You can follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Follow our show on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. And like it on Facebook as the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast and follow it on LinkedIn. This special interview is sponsored by the Viget Sports mobile app, where great fans cover. Use the hashtag GreatFansCover on social media. Download the Viget Sports mobile app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Sign up and type in the referral code STABLES for Stables Media, capital S, rest of the letters being lowercase, including the letter B in the middle, as in billionaire, for Stables Media. Now, cutting to the chase, Richard, just give us some background on the lawsuits against the University of Michigan regarding Dr. Robert Anderson.
Dr. Robert Anderson was employed by the University of Michigan from the early 1960s until around 1999-2000. During that time, he apparently, and I'm going to still couch the word apparently, even though we have well over 868 plaintiffs involved currently against Dr. Robert Anderson in the University of Michigan. He sexually assaulted men, women, boys, girls, airline pilots, as it's turned out as well. Really, mostly in the end from the football team. The plaintiffs that we have date back from the late 1960s, and or if they have passed away, we now have their families involved as part of the tort lawsuit. What a tort lawsuit is a personal injury lawsuit. It's different from a class action lawsuit, meaning that the university, if they settle and when they settle, must pay every single plaintiff the same amount of money across the board. Unlike a class action suit where the attorneys make all the money and the plaintiffs get away with come out with bupkas. The reason why I started this lawsuit a little over going almost 2 years ago now is that a good friend of mine, John Vaughn, who also played football for Michigan, he also played in the NFL. John and I were victims in the 1980s. We knew each other while we were up at Michigan. Both of us were severe victims. I was a victim of sexual assault by Dr. Robert Anderson in 1981, 82, and 83, all 3 years. And John was a victim in the early 1980s as well. And the two of us got together with attorneys and said, you know what, enough is enough. This man is dead. John and I had heard numerous rumors throughout the years from those who now are plaintiffs of the same sexual assault and or worse. John had it much worse than me. What happened to them, and the university did absolutely nothing. How I really came about putting this together was that all the rumors we heard were that Don Canham of the University of Michigan, who was the athletics director, he was God. As if anybody knows the University of Michigan, Don Canham was the dean of all athletics directors. Don, whatever he wanted, he did. Whatever he said was gold. He was the ultimate stopgap between all of the sports programs at Michigan. He was well recognized throughout, of course, the Big Ten, as well as the entire nation of sports information directors, as well as athletics directors. What irked me is when I started hearing these rumors from all of these different ball players from football, basketball, baseball, hockey, who had preceded me and who came after me. I graduated the University of Michigan in 1983. And I began hearing all of these rumors that Don Canham had done nothing. Well, this is my story, and this is where I went public. I had been known initially of the lawsuit as John Doe EB17. Why? Because the attorneys did not want me to come out publicly initially. They did not want John coming out initially. Everybody was a John Doe until John and I finally said enough is enough. And this past June, on the campus of the University of Michigan, we went public. I did what is known as unmasking myself in public, no longer John Doe EB17. Why? because a face needed to be put on the lead litigants, and both John and myself, which is exactly what we did while we were on campus. And let me back myself up to 1981. I was a broadcaster at the university for football at both WUOM and WCBN, WJAJX. Those were the student stations back then. They both no longer exist. And I had befriended Bo Schembechler because I was the new kid on the block. I had transferred in from Oakland Community College in Farmington Hills, of all places. And when I went to the radio station, they had just lost their previous play-by-play guy, and they said, "Tag, you're it." Okay. No. Yes. And a group of us first met with Frank Beckman, who was with WJR at the time, who was the old play-by-play broadcaster at Michigan. Jim Brandstatter, of course, took over for him. And went to Frank and said, "Help? What am I going to do?" And he said, No. I'll help you as far as getting your guys together. You know how to broadcast. You started at WXYT, which was WXYZ radio in Detroit, doing the old Ron Cameron show. I actually was an intern at the Cameron show in the late 1970s, and something happened to Ron one night, and tag, I was on the air. I was only 18 years old. And Frank said, "No, you know what to do. I'm going to train your color man. I will train your spotter of what they need to do so they'll be able to work during the game. But you really need to go meet with Bo and his staff to learn the players," which I pretty much already knew, but I needed to know the depth chart from Bo. So I got very close to him. One night, very late in Bo's office, he noticed that I was not even looking at him straight. I had suffered from migraines from the time that I was high school. And Bo said, "I need you to go see Dr. Robert Anderson. He is the sports medicine physician here at the university. Go see him and see if he can help with the migraines." I said, "Not a problem." Went to see him. That's when it all fell apart. Now, where I was politically correct during our June broadcast, I'm not going to be here on a podcast. When you go see somebody for a migraine headache, which is here, you don't expect somebody to try to manipulate you down there. And the first thing he did was he had me hop on a table. He started taking my pants off. I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he started fondling me and manipulating me. Well, I got freaked out, obviously. I went back to Schembechler and I said, "Wait, what? No, I'm just a kid. I'm 19 years old." I said, "Bo, something's wrong here." He goes, "Excuse me?" I said, "You heard me. This just happened to me." The look on his face was horrified. So that told me that Bo never knew what was going on. Now, it makes sense because all the players who came before me never had spoken to him. We discussed this in the locker room. I've discussed this ad nauseum, as has John, with all the other folks, that some who are plaintiffs, some who have refused to be plaintiffs because they don't want their names out there from the shame of what happened to them. And Bo said to me, quote, "Get your ass up right now. Go right across the hall," which is where Don Canham's office was, literally 10 feet from his office. He said, "Tell him what happened." I went into Don's office, just stood in the doorway. I introduced myself. He knew who I was. Don had already known me. I had been introduced to him by Frank Beckman, and I had met him at the Big Ten football conference kickoff in Chicago just a few weeks before. And I said, "Don, this just happened to me. Dr. Robert Anderson sexually assaulted me." Of course, that was not the term we used back then. I said, basically, I went to see him and he pulled my pants down and he started feeling me up, quote unquote. He sat there like a bump on a log and did absolutely nothing. I'm like, okay. He didn't even respond to me, didn't say a word to me. I went back to Schembechler, shrugged my shoulders and said, "Wait, what?" He said, "Not a problem. I got this." He went in and talked to Canham about something I do not know about, but I know there was some screaming involved. 1982, I went to Bo again. This is right before one of the games. Bo said, "Headache still bad?" I said, "Uh-huh." He goes, "Okay, go back to Anderson and ask him to up the prescription," which was fine. I had no problem doing that because he was part of the university health system. Went into Robert Anderson's office. Why am I calling him that? I went into Anderson's office and told him, standing outside of his office, his secretary is sitting there. And I said to him, "This is what's going on. And I said to him, quote unquote, "Don't get near me." What's the first thing he did is he grabbed my ass. Swear to God. grabs my ass and starts feeling me up, and then he immediately turns around and grabs me on the crotch. I'm like, screw this. Walked out of the office, went back to Bo and said, okay, this is 2 for 2. 2 years in a row. He's like, no. Go back to Don Canham. Now, the reason why Bo did this, and the reason why I have said this to everyone to point that out, is Schembechler was the employee. Canham was his boss. He's the athletics director. The only person who can make decisions was Canham. So I went into Canham's office again, said this happened the second time. He sat there stone-faced. Like, okay, this is just not good. Still said nothing to anyone. Still said nothing to even John. John said nothing to me about what's going on with him because he was literally being sexually assaulted and they were taking sperm samples from him. Don't ask why, but that's what was happening. And wanted to bring it out on the air so very badly, but I decided not to because I was stupid and a kid. Now, keep in mind that when you are walking to the athletics complex from where I was at the university, from where I lived on the corner of Thompson and Packard, which was pretty close to the athletic complex. You had to walk by the administration building. The administration building, of course, is where President Howard Shapiro was at the time. I could have easily gone in there, and I should have gone in there in hindsight and said something. I didn't. I was stupid. 1983 comes around. I'm graduating. We've already been to the Rose Bowl. We were at the Rose Bowl. We lost to UCLA in January. Nobody was talking about this in the locker room either. And I brought it up. I specifically remember bringing this up in the locker room to one of the boys. I'm not going to mention his name, saying, hey, didn't you have an appointment with? He goes, I don't want to talk about it. I said, yeah, either do I. He goes, yeah, something bad. I said, you betcha. So, unfortunately, I had to go see Anderson one more time in 83 because the drugs that he had put me on had been recalled. The name of the drug was something called Metriton, I believe. It was beautiful for migraines, except it was being recalled by the FDA because it had a cocaine derivative in it. Hello. No wonder I was feeling so good. And I went into his secretary and said, I understand this is being recalled. Coach Schembechler sent me back here. I'm going to need a new prescription, but I don't want to see this guy. Point blank, I don't want to see him. Well, of course, he comes out of the office, bounding out of the office, the little twerp that he was, and he says to me, hey, I need to do a physical exam to see how you're doing. I'm like, not a chance in hell. I said, if you're going to try to do anything, you're going to do it again in front of your secretary. He did. Son of a grabs my bait seam, as I said to the media in June, because that's the best way to put it. I'm still being politically correct. And starts fondling them right in front of his secretary who's sitting there doing nothing. And I'm like, okay, that's it, done. Forget it. Didn't even go to Bo's office this time. Now, I know Bo was in there, but Bo was meeting with one of the assistant coaches at the time, who was Lloyd Carr. And I saw Bo, wave to him. He saw this look on my face like, what the hell? I went into Canham's office and slammed the door this time. This is year 3. And I called Canham every name in the book nicely and said, you've done nothing for 3 years. What is wrong with you? This can't just be me that this has happened to. This was Don's only words that he had spoken to me in 3 years. He looked up from his desk, holding this pen, and said, quote, go fuck yourself, unquote. Okay. I walked out of Don's office. Immediately, what you just did is I slammed my fist on the wall outside Bo's office. I knocked 2 pictures down. Bo comes flying out of his office and says, what just happened? And I told him. He went into Canham's office and he read him the riot act. Now, I could hear clearly what Bo was saying. Why haven't you fired this SOB? Why haven't you done anything? This is 3 years in a row this guy's been to you. I know he can't be the only one. And Canham started screaming back at him, and Schembechler walked out, slamming his door. And then I graduated, of course, a month later, so hi. Well, all these years later, of all these people that have been sexually assaulted, now, one of the things that I have personally taken responsibility for, which I know I don't have to, but I did, is everybody who came after me from 1983 forward that was sexually assaulted, I'm carrying them on my shoulders. Why? Because I failed. I said this in June, and I'm saying it again now to you. I failed. I could not get Don Canham to do anything. I could not get him to react. I could not get the university to fire him, and Canham was the only one who could. Now, of course, you've heard all the stories, how he was fired in the 1970s, how Canham brought him back a second time for reasons unknown, and the sexual assaults continued. Now, when John and I both went public, as we did in June, we made it very, very, very clear that no amount of money to 868 plaintiffs is ever going to be enough. There's never been an apology from the university, never been an apology forthcoming. Now, I do admit that Bo became athletics director after Canham, and Bo did nothing. Bo was pressured apparently by the university to do nothing. So Bo did nothing. And here we are today. There have been several other lawsuits that were filed. One was filed last week, which I have no idea what these guys are doing. They filed a class actions lawsuit, a couple athletes, against the public presentation at the University of Michigan. Apparently what they're going for in this class action suit is no one has been given enough time, quote unquote, to ever speak to the university in front of the Board of Regents. They get 5 minutes and they're told that they're turned away next. And these folks are filing a lawsuit against Michigan for saying they don't have enough time to speak, which, to be between you and I'm not going to comment on the legality of it, but I think that's very strange. The lawsuit that is going on now is still in mediation. Michigan, to the best of my knowledge, has offered nothing. They have done absolutely nothing to try to make things right. They hem, they haw. I did make a comment during the June interview with one of the folks down at Channel 2 in Detroit, who I've known for many, many years. He and I went back 100 years. And he's standing there, he's pointing his microphone at me with this you-know-what eating grin on his face. I'm like, uh-oh. And he goes, hey, question for you. This is after our public broadcast. He said, what do you think of the university? I said, well, Darrell Rogers had it right back in the early 1980s when he called the University of Michigan arrogant asses. And he said to me, are you calling the University of Michigan asses? I said, no, but I'm certainly calling them arrogant, which at least had the whole gaggle of people cracking up going, that was funny.
They are.
And they are. The defense counsel has painted a target on John and my back because we're the public face now of this lawsuit. They don't want to settle. The only way that they're going to settle is being forced against the wall, or let's go to trial. Now, I assure you that if they want to go to trial, they don't want John or myself on the stand. Number one, my background also, besides being an old broadcaster, is I'm a litigation paralegal. So I've had hundreds of depositions in my time. I have litigated many, 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 many years. So I know how to handle myself, of course, in front of a depo and in front of a jury. Once we speak the truth, there's got to be no jury out there that's going to literally understand why Michigan hasn't made one offer. Now, how do they settle? This is something that, well, if you look at Larry Nassar from Michigan State, there were 165 plaintiffs there. They settled for close to $1 billion. How do you settle with everybody still in their families? It's going to cost you a lot more than that, apparently, because you have a lot more plaintiffs. Now, Michigan has the insurance. They've got the endowments. There's no question they're not short of that kind of cash. But how do you make people whole? You can't. I personally never told my parents. I never spun. My parents are long gone now. My brother passed away 2 years ago. I never told him. And 2 years ago, I'm sitting at my kitchen table where I'm at right now. My wife was sitting across from me. And I finally said to her, I have something to tell you. She's like, excuse me? I said, I need to talk to you. And I had to couch it very badly because my wife had been a victim of sexual assault when she was a kid. So I really had to couch it. And I told her what happened. Her mouth fell to the ground. And then I called one of my best friends and I told her. Then I told the fellow that I work with, who I've been friends with for 10 years. They were stunned silence. And I had no intention of going public in June. However, I was up in Michigan in June for my mother's headstone unveiling. Just timing was perfect. I had flown up to Michigan. I was planning on driving back one way because I was emptying out a storage shed that they had. And I got a phone call from my attorney, one of them who was in Lansing, of all places. And Alex says to me, I got a question for you. Are you in town? I'm like, you damn right. You know I'm in town. He goes, want to come to Ann Arbor? I'm like, excuse me. I have not set foot back on campus in Ann Arbor. Even all the years I was broadcasting at Michigan State, I never went back to Ann Arbor. So this is the first time since I graduated that I was back on campus. And the same with John. We both pulled into the parking lot pretty much at the same time. The parking lot is adjacent to Michigan Stadium, with the big block M, of course, is there in the end zone. Usually when you pull into Michigan Stadium over all those years, and of course I did all those years that I was there, you get goosebumps. It's Michigan Stadium. When you watch that stadium fill up from 0 to 100,000, that's an event when you're in the press box. I felt nothing. John felt nothing. And we walked across the street to something called the Big Blue House, which is right adjacent to the stadium. That's where a lot of the alumni gather every Saturday for game time. And that's where the press conference was. And John and I are both standing and we're looking at the stadium. Nope, still feel nothing, still feel nothing. And then we went public. Well, if what we have done by becoming the spokespeople for those who cannot speak, meaning those who are long gone, those who are disabled or affirmed that cannot speak, those who do not wish to speak, who do not wish to go public, or those that just are afraid of saying anything, but they join the lawsuit, we've done our job. What Dr. Anderson did for a 40-plus year period was horrifying. How do you allow one individual to get this many plaintiffs, or this, let's just say
almost 900,
over 900, and that's just
almost
what we
900.
know. Dr. Anderson's records are, forget it. His records just were not good either. So we don't know anybody from anyone, which is why we've had all the different attorneys that have tried to get involved. We've consolidated as much as we can. What Larry Nassar did was horrifying. What Dr. Anderson did was 3 times worse, because it was so many different people. Where the 165 that we know of at Michigan State, the girls who were sexually assaulted, these are men, women, kids that were, you had golfers, and as I said, airline pilots, all these people have come forward and said, yes, he did the same thing to me. Yet you have a university, unlike Michigan State, that tried to cover it up, of course, which is how the president got fired. Mark Hollis, of course, lost his job as athletics director. The state police had to come in, the university police. That's never happened at Michigan. Michigan has just kept all of this quiet between the Board of Regents. And it's unbelievable. What this man was able to do and get away with, that Don Canham allowed to happen, is unbelievable. Now, I'm going to repeat what I said at the news conference, that I'm very, very apologetic to Don Canham's family. They do not deserve this. They don't deserve what's about to come down. However, that's how I'm leaving it. However, what their father, uncle, brother, and whatever he was to these folks, grandfather did, that he did not do, has left a horrifying legacy. Now, you have all these people that are still trying to blame Bo. Shemi Schembeckler came out in this weird news conference and said, oh, my dad knew, I told him. He was 9 years old at the time. There's not a, now I'm going to defend Anderson on this one. There's not a chance in hell Dr. Anderson was sexually assaulting a 9-year-old kid. I do not know where Shemi was coming from. I do not. His brother, of course, is saying the same thing that I am. Those who want to take down Bo's statue, I will defend Bo until my dying day. Bo did the right thing, at least with me. Those 3 years, he did the right thing. And then, of course, he confronts him, Canham. Now, can we blame Bo for not doing anything? Yeah, we can, when he was athletics director. But by then, the damage is way too done. You're talking the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s before Bo joined the Detroit Tigers. Horrifying. And Bo and I discussed this many, 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 many times over the years. May he rest in peace. He and I kept a very good relationship. You have to understand with Bo, anybody who he took under his wing that he became friends with, he considered family. He considered all the kids on the football team family. I'm the first and only broadcaster that he ever trusted, that he considered family, because I was a kid when I first came to see him. And I was respectful to him. Got to know him as very, very well. Got to know his family very, very well, which is why I question what Shemi was saying. That no, not a chance. However, where we are today, we're in mediation. Mediation is going nowhere. There are gag orders that had to be put on because I'm sure you saw this one newscast where someone said that an offer had been made. He came out publicly and said this. I think he was with M Live. Said, "Oh, I know there was an offer that was made," and the judge went ballistic because there was no offer made. So the judge issued a gag order from anybody speaking of any future offers, which is fine. The offers are meaningless. Coming to the table is everything. Unless you acknowledge, and this is not just for Michigan, this is for Michigan State, this is for Penn State. Let me look at Jim Jordan at Ohio State. Look what they're doing. Jim Jordan's in the United States Congress, and he covered up sexual assaults on wrestlers purposely, knowingly. The records are there that he has done this, yet he keeps being reelected in Congress. I don't get that. How do you elect a man who knowingly covered up sexual assault?
And I can't.
No, I can't. And that's why everybody started calling him Jim, J-Y-M Jordan, to make fun of him because of his cover-up. When you have these people that are out there, and Eastern Michigan just had a lawsuit filed against them, I'm sure you saw the other day, for sexual assault. What the hell is going on out there in the big universities? Now, it could be the small universities. I could say Stony Brook, just to throw a name out. Who knows?
It can happen anywhere.
Right. It could happen anywhere. But I've never seen such arrogance in my entire life. When you are presented with so many litigants, so many people coming forward with the same style of story as John and I, and you ignore them. Now, John and I are not members of the Alumni Association. Neither of us have ever joined. In fact, before the news conference, we were gathered inside the big house in a big room, and there were people who were there, they were spectators. And I went in front of one of the attorneys. I said, I got to ask you a question. He goes, what? I said, no, this is the crowd, not you. I said, folks, just by a raise of hand, there are over 100 of you in this room right now. Are any of you members of the Alumni Association at Michigan? Not one hand went up. How sad is that? When you've turned away football players, basketball players, hockey, golf, swimming, you've turned away all these people by your own arrogance. You want to embrace these people. This is your legacy, Michigan. Your legacy is now so tarnished because of what you allowed and Canham allowed Robert Anderson to do. There's no turning back. Now we're way beyond that. Come on, we're in the 1960s. This is 2021. We're way beyond that now. There is no way that any of us should be looking at Michigan saying, hey, yeah. Well, look, I love Jim Harbaugh. I'll be honest. I went to Michigan State because I was recruited by them to broadcast. That's fine. I love Jim Harbaugh. But here's the thing. If Michigan loses every single game during the year except to Ohio State, I'm happy. Why? Look what they did to me. But I'm not a fan of Michigan sports at all. I can't be. They blocked me. Their own actions blocked me. Now, I love Juwan Howard. He's a great guy. Trust me.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, he's one of the nicest guys in the world. But he's going through all of this now because he's also spoke to other alumnus from the basketball team who were sexually assaulted. He throws his hands in the air going, why haven't we done anything? Meaning the university as a whole. Why haven't we settled? And of course, you know, all the reports that have come out that show this, everything that I'm saying being true. Michigan's own independent study said this is true. The studies that were done by the attorneys show that this is true, what happened. They admit, Michigan admits that this happened. They're open to admit it.
Finally,
but they're not saying, oh my God, we're so sorry. Now, here's what we were said. We're sorry for any and all victims across the board of sexual assault. Not, hey, we're sorry for what Anderson did to any of you. Make an offer. It doesn't matter. You can make an offer of $40 billion for all I give a damn. It's not going to make families or the individuals whole. How do you make it whole? You can't. We're so far beyond that now. I can't begin to tell you. The reason why John and I keep going public, keep talking, trying to do what we need to do is just keep spreading the word. The more we spread the word, maybe the more Michigan will listen. I don't know. They haven't listened so far. This huge news conference on campus, and they still didn't listen. They had a meeting the next day, the next night after June. They barely even brought it up. Barely even brought it up in their meeting. So we've had several people that have gone to Dana Nessel, Michigan's Attorney General. John was one of them. I'm actually meeting with her people next week as well. There's not much she can do, but she can actually put pressure on the university to try to just say, guys, make this whole. Make it go away, because the damage that was done at Michigan State is irreversible. You and I both know that. There's not one day that's going to go by for the next generation where people are not going to look at Michigan State and go, look what Nasser did. Nasser's still alive. He's in jail. Anderson's long
in
dead.
prison for the rest of his life.
Thank you. Anderson, Schembechler, and Canham, they're all gone.
Dead.
So who are you going to blame, guys? They're all gone. Now let's try to at least repair the reputation of the university, which is all I'm asking them to try to do. But the arrogance is preventing it. I don't understand it. I do understand how Michigan State was forced. Obviously, when you fire Mary Lou, the president, and you get rid of the athletics director, and you try to start prosecuting people, which they've done, there's a message right there. Nobody's prosecuted anybody at Michigan yet. Why? Because they're all dead. That's a good reason. You cannot prosecute those that are gone. It's impossible. So what do? You try to welcome everybody back to the university, make everybody as whole as possible. But the biggest thing you need is, besides whatever monetary it's going to be, and again, who cares? How about an apology? How about welcoming John and I, the face of this lawsuit, back to the university? Say to us, hey guys, why don't you come up to campus, one of the games? Why don't you come into the press box? We'll introduce you to everybody, and we'll give you a public apology on behalf of the litigants. That would go a long way. It's not going to happen. I can't see Michigan's Board of Regents doing that. And it's impossible for me to even fathom and or comprehend why they would not do this, but they're not doing this. They don't care. And let me rephrase that. I don't know what they don't care, but their actions are showing that they don't care. And the end result of this is going to be your reputation is destroyed. How's that feel, guys? How's that feel to have your reputation be destroyed under you when you're the so-called leaders of the West? Sorry, I'm not using the song against them, but I'm using the fight song against them. You cannot say hail to the victors valiant. Nobody's winning here. 1,000+ people have lost. All of us have been damaged. Obviously, it's something I got to carry with me the rest of my life, as does John, as does everybody else. How's that feel, guys? How's that feel when a guy like me, this guy right here, could have stopped it in 81, 82, and 83, and you didn't? And one of the things that I keep trying to tell the media is, guys, take it from my perspective. I'm just a regular schmuck. That's all I am. You know, I'm just a kid. I was a kid who's now 60 years old, but I've gone all these years without even so much as a, hey, how you doing? Hey, we're really sorry. Hey, we know, well, maybe we don't know, but we think we know many of his patients. Reach out to them. No, instead they sent out a letter saying, hey, if you've been sexually abused by the University of Michigan, come and let us know. Wait a minute, that's way too late. The lawsuits are filed already, you morons. You should have done this before the lawsuits were filed, when we initially came to you and said, hey, hi. Or you could have done something in 1983. Don Canham could have gone to the Board of Regents. He could have opened up his mouth. He could have said something, because we already know from the records they tried to fire him once. They decided not to. How do you let this happen? It's beyond my comprehension. But then again, like you were saying, this could happen everywhere, because it already has happened at Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State. That's 4 Big Ten schools out of 12. That's unbelievable. Those are the 4 biggest programs in the Big Ten. Michigan, I want to rank them. Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State. Let's be in order here, the right way, under football programs. How do you allow this to happen on your campus? How do you cover it up? Now, Ohio State is still covering it up, obviously. Penn State settled. Obviously, they went to jail because they were alive. Guys like Jim Jordan, they should be prosecuted for covering up what they covered up unknowingly. That's a gimme. That's just a legal fact. The man should at least be smacked over the head, and try to make it whole with those guys. But that was just a wrestling team. That's just one tiny asset. It's like Michigan State. It was the gymnastic girls. In Michigan, it was everywhere. It was every single program at Michigan. He was the university sports physician. He assaulted everyone. I mean, how do you take, and I'm going to say it from a girl's perspective, because a guy assaulting a guy is weird enough, but how do you sexually assault young girls? How do you stick your hands where you were sticking them on young girls, both, I'm going to say, in the front and the back, and expect these girls to recover? How do you do that? And you're a doctor, you're a physician. What are you doing? But they knew. That's the problem. They knew. And this is why, again, I say I'll carry for the rest of my life on my shoulders, gladly so, the souls of those folks who came after me from 1983 until they got rid of him and he died. Why? Because I tried. And I was unsuccessful. And this is one thing that John is always saying to me: how do you live with yourself? You just do. You go on. You go on with your life, because what else are you going to do? I have a family, obviously. Now I have a huge family. My huge family is all these litigants now and all the attorneys. That's my family. We have to bring this to an end. I don't understand how we can yet without possibly going to trial. If we go to trial, that's going to be devastating. You do not want a jury to make that monetary decision against the university, because sky's the limit, obviously. Come up with a number now, let it get sad, make it satisfactory. You go to trial, I can guarantee those damages may be treble. And what are you going to do? Try to appeal that and make it even worse? This is what I actually have said to the folks in the gaggle. I said, you lose. You want to take it to the Court of Appeals. After the Court of Appeals, you're going to go to Cincinnati. After Cincinnati, you want to go to the Supreme Court? What the hell is wrong with you? You have four options. You're going to have the trial court, then you're going to have the federal court, then you're going to have the appeals court, and then you have the Supreme Court. You really want to go that far, guys? Seriously? What the hell is wrong with you?
They're just gonna defeat you over and over and over again wherever you go if you keep appealing those protests.
Exactly. And if you keep appealing the decisions, let's say the jury came back, and I don't even care what the number is, and jury does find the university guilty, which they're going to, because the university has admitted this. Then they attack on the monetary award plus attorney's fees. Don't forget, attorney fees are going to be huge in court from all the different attorneys that are involved. What are you doing? Can't you, if I'm on the board of regents of any university, and I have practical common sense, which you and I do, we're going to recommend, can we end this, please? This is going on for way too long. And then after we end it, let's make a conscientious effort to reach out to the litigants that we know we can reach out to and say, hey, guys, I'm so very sorry. So very sorry. Would you like to come up to the university? Even if we say no, John and I, even if we say, screw you, we're not going to come up, at least make the offer. Now, if they came out and they apologized to us and said, would you come up for a personal apology? I think I'd fly up there. I'd come up from Florida for it. John would come up in Dallas for it. Sure, he would. Why? I want the cameras rolling when they do that. I want it public. I want everybody to see them with their hats between their ankles going, oh, we're sorry. You should be. And this is what I'm going to, I swear to God, what I will say to them. I'll shake your hand, but I'm going to tell you right to your face, it's 40 some odd years too late. I at least will get those words in, because all these people that have passed away. Now, if this is a litigation strategy for Michigan, and I will say this from past litigation experience, let's try to wait out all the plaintiffs and see if they die. We'll have to pay less money. That's how a lot of these corporations and folks think. However, in a tort action, that's not the way it works. Tort action is the families get paid the same, the survivors get paid the same as those who are still alive. The surviving family members, get paid the same as those members that are still alive of the litigation class. So what do you want to do, Michigan? How do you want to handle this? You're going on with all your sports programs. Yeah, they beat Washington the other day. All of us who should be excited aren't. How sad is that? How sad is that when we can't even want to root for our own school anymore? We want nothing to do with the athletics department. Manuel, who's the athletics director, he could have reached out to John and I. He knows us both. He could have reached out and at least said, hey, guys, this is just personal. I want to apologize. That I would accept from him because, hell, he was a non-party in any of this litigation. He wasn't there at the time. But everybody else, come on. Now, you and I both know the Board of Regents has changed over and changed over and changed over since the 1980s. That's fine, but all of them knew about this. Every single one of them knew about this. And when you first were made aware about it, why didn't you do anything? Why did you allow 868 litigants to sign on when you could have settled this by going, oh, you're right. We were wrong. You're right. He was a schmuck. He actually sexually did assault all these people. Guys, what is it going to take to settle with you? And it would have cost them so much more or less back then. It would have been easily. Not anymore. Not when you have 868 plus, because we still don't know how many more out there that may try to sign on in the end. John and I are still trying to recruit those that are on the fence. He and I talked last week about that. We're still trying to recruit some of the football players and basketball players that he and I both know who don't want to come forward because they are embarrassed. And even though we try to say to them, guys, don't be embarrassed. It's not your fault that this happened. They still are very, very leery. They want to protect their names, families, and I can't blame them. Me, I had to come forward because you know what? Enough was enough. Seriously, enough was enough. What happened to John, again, was twice as bad as what happened to me, and neither of us should take this anymore. Neither of us. And when we finally went public, meaning we found attorneys, and we told the attorneys what was going on, no one really knew. Until the attorneys started doing, now they did their due diligence, of course, before they even signed us on, which is what you're supposed to do as attorneys. And they did their due diligence, and one of them came back to me and said, what in the name of? I'm like, yeah. He goes, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. I said, what did you do? He said, I put a feeler out there. Just a general feeler, a blast. And all of a sudden, 300 names showed up out of nowhere saying, you want to talk? You want to talk? I said, told you so. He goes, really? I said, yeah. And that's when we try to consolidate as much as we can. Now, there's another class action lawsuit going on out there, which I know nothing about. Class action lawsuits between you and I get people nowhere. Again, it's the attorneys that make the money and nobody else. I'm hoping that these people will convert over. In fact, I would encourage them to do so. But then again, I'm not an attorney, so don't quote me on that. What's going to happen is one of two things, to be quite honest. John and I are going to have to throw enough pressure out there through Dana Nessel's office, through hopefully Governor Whitmer's office, that she's going to come through. And she's a Michigan State girl, so she knows exactly what happened at Michigan State. So does Dana. She was a Michigan State girl. When John met with the folks in the Attorney General's office, their mouths hung open because they could not believe. They had read all the news articles, from me as EB-17 and John as EB whatever he was, detailing the assaults, but they never had heard it from an in-person before until John spoke to them. And he looked all of them in the eye and said, this is what happened to Goldman. This is what happened to me. Read our transcript again from the June presser. We're not lying. None of us are lying. This has actually happened. And John gave them more intimate details from me that I've only shared from the attorneys that would help their attorneys at the Attorney General's office, as John gave them some more information, and they're like, holy crap. How could this happen at the two major universities in our state? And I agree with them. Michigan State, my God, that was bad enough. Larry Nassar, that stupid son of a bitch, did what he did, and everyone knew about it, and yet he continued to do it, and he laughed about it, which is what he remember during trial, he was laughing. What a sick human being. John Anderson is not here to defend himself. Yes, that is true. Either is Bo, either is Canham. However, there's an old thing, and you'll understand this being a broadcaster as well. Facts are facts. Facts don't lie. People lie. Facts cannot lie. And when you bring the facts forward and everybody else starts corroborating your facts, but everybody has a separate, of course, distinct issue of what he did to them. I mean, there's only so much sexual assault you can do, but you can imagine of the things that he did to the men and women, besides just what he tried to do with me. Maybe there's 200 different scenarios that he could do. I don't know. But he's done this. The university knew. And the moment that you knew about it, you should have come forward and said, okay, we understand. We can't correct the past for what Don Canham did not do. We understand that Bo tried to do what he did because of what you said he did. Okay, let's try to put this to bed. Is it inexcusable what Canham did? Sure. Do I want to ruin Don's name and reputation? No. He was let me be honest. He was a great athletics director. What he did, he opened up so many doors across the nation for universities and their athletic department with everything that he did, his innovative ways that he did the games and basketball and all the things. The man was a genius, but he was a jackass for not doing what he should have done, which was his job in getting rid of Dr. Anderson. That's my only beef against him. Otherwise, did I like him personally? Yeah. Because when I first got there, he welcomed me with open arms. I got to be honest. I was a kid out of OCC. He welcomed me with open arms, and then I don't want to say he turned against me, but he just sat there and he did nothing. That's not cool, guys. Even in the early 1980s, when no one knew anything about sexual assault, let's be honest. Nobody was reporting sexual assault. Nobody was really reporting rapes on campus back then. And you had this 3 years in a row. You could have gone to your football team, meaning Canham, or basketball team, it doesn't matter. He could have talked to the players, but he didn't. Now, I'm the only one who had the balls to show up. Hey, that's great, but I was in the athletics office almost every single day because, as you can imagine, during game week, there's a lot you got to do. You've got to get the depth charts from both sides. You got to meet with the SIDs over the phone from the opposite schools. You're meeting with Bruce Made. Bruce was the associate athletics director at Michigan at the time. I was meeting with Bruce and his staff all the time. So I had open access to Bo and the coaching staff. I had open access to Bo. I had open access to Lloyd Carr. I had open access to the entire football staff that was up there. And none of them knew. How do I know that? None of them knew. Now, I have since talked to a guy by the name of Les Miles, who you and I are familiar with. Les went from Michigan. He won a national championship or two. I spoke to Les about a year ago. Just ran into him, spoke to him and said, did you know? He's like, absolutely not, until you brought this forward. And the guy started talking. I said, okay, Les, talk to me. You were a coordinator up there. The guys were talking to you all the time. He goes, we never talked about it. He goes, you have to understand the culture, Richard. They were afraid like you were. He said, why didn't you tell your parents or your brother? I was scared shitless. He goes, that's what they were too. You had grown men. You had jocks. You guys were jocks. Hell, you came up there initially to play baseball. Your knee injury prevented you, so you started broadcasting for us. Yep. How scared were you to talk to Bo? I wasn't. I said, because I had that family relationship with Bo. Was I afraid to go into Canham's office? Yeah, the first time I was. But after that, no, not anymore. How do you allow this to happen and do nothing? That's what I want to make sure this message gets across to everyone. Whether you are a University of Michigan backer, whether you're a student, whether you're a kid who grew up loving the football program, you have to understand what happened at this university. Now, you don't have to support John and I. You don't have to support the 868 guys. You can tell us all we're full of crap. We're still going to support the university as a result. Hey, that's fine. Not a problem. But you have to understand that, like Michigan State, your university is tainted now for the rest of its existence. How do you feel about that, guys? How about that 100,000 plus that showed up at the Maze Out against Washington? How many of them know? Well, I'm sure a lot of them know because it's been so public. How do you secure your university when the university is treating your alumni like crap? How do you go to bed at night, guys? Yeah, I love Michigan. Screw Michigan State. Well, I'm saying screw Michigan State. I'm still part of Michigan State. I still get all the rings because of all the years of broadcasting. Am I angry at my university, my adopted university? You're damn right I am. I wish to God I would have known. Of course, all those years of broadcasting up there, I was separate from the gymnastics program, so we heard nothing. If you talk to Tom Izzo, if you talk to Mark D'Antonio or George Perlis or Muddy Waters or any of those guys that were coaches up there, none of us knew. None of us knew. When I first went to Michigan Michigan State with Clarence Underwood, who became the athletics director, who recruited me, the associate athletics director, none of us knew, because Michigan State was in such a small square until the girls started going public with USA Gymnastics is how it finally happened. The girls finally got together and said, wait a minute, this happened to you, this happened to you, this happened to you. 165 girls later, look what the hell happened. And then the university covered it up like Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan is doing. Except the good thing about Michigan State is that the campus police at Michigan State got involved. They finally got involved and said, oh, we're bringing in the FBI. We're bringing in the state of Michigan Attorney General
to investigate.
Right. What the hell happened up here? We got 100+ girls that are going public. We didn't even know. Let's go after Nassar. And then, of course, Nassar clams up, and the rest is history with the way the trial was. And how could you put this is what I'm always going to say. How do you put these poor girls on the stand the way that they were forced to go in the trial? Now, John and I have big balls. John's an NFL player. John's a public spokesman. I'm a public speaker, obviously, all the years of broadcasting, all the years of litigation. We know how to handle ourselves. But these poor girls, you subjected them through this. How'd that feel, Michigan State? How did that feel when you destroyed your legacy? Oh, not all the girls were students. I love that excuse. Oh, they were just up there for the gymnastics program.
They all were.
They all were. Thank you. You're on the campus. You are a student athlete. No matter what you are, you're a student athlete up on that campus. All of us, including the guys who were pilots, who were training, who I don't know how the hell they got there in the 60s. Everybody was considered a student athlete at the University of Michigan, and look what happened into us. Into us, what happened unto us, as I say. And it should never have happened. This is why venues like you, venues like the Washington Post, New York Times, all of them, that I can't stay silent anymore is EB-17. I have to go public. I need to go public. The public needs to see a face. Now, if you look at the tape from June and all these guys that were surrounding us, John, myself, the other fella in the background, there was a lot of students. Now, a lot of these guys are in their 70s who were there. I had guys who were in wheelchairs. I had guys who were in walkers. I had guys that could barely make it without assistance. These are the people we're fighting for. This needs to be settled while these boys are alive. Plain and simple. This has to be done while these boys are alive, because I don't want them to go to their graves like the guys from the 60s have. I don't want them to go to their graves feeling any guilt. I want them to go to their graves feeling justice. At least that the university would say, hey, good God, we're so sorry. Now, yes, the money issue, will it take care of families? I don't care. I have to be honest. I'm probably the only guy out there who will look at you in the eye and say, I don't give a shit about the money. Yes, is the money going to be good for everyone? Yeah, but that's not the point. And what I keep trying to tell the media is, can we stay laser focused on one thing? Don Canham. Stay laser focused on Canham. Screw Schembechler, whatever he said, and we want to take down Bo's statue like we took down Joe Paterno's, which I was against, by the way. Even if Paterno, no, you don't take down a statue, you morons. The fact is, Bo did not know until I brought it forward, and he did his job. He sent me to the right guy. Now, again, after Bo became athletics director, the pressure that he felt, I could only imagine from the board of trustees, because it's unlike Bo to have said nothing. And Bo, and again, until Bo died, he and I always talked about this. And about, you remember that time when I walked in your office and I slammed my fist on the wall. He goes, you're the only student that this is his exact quote. He goes, you're the only student athlete that I ever had that actually slammed his hands on the wall in the athletic complex and said the words, motherfucker, like you said. He said, in all my years of coaching, all my years going back to Canton, Ohio State, no one's ever done that. I said, yeah, but I didn't care anymore. He goes, that's what I mean. You didn't care anymore. And I was so damn proud of you that you did that you shook Canham out of his seat to allow me to go in there and scream at him and he still did nothing. Wow. This is all, I don't want to say it's all Don Canham, but it's all Don Canham. Why? He was there in the 60s, 70s, 80s. He knew he could have fired him. He did not, going way back when. He could have fired him in 81 through 83. He did nothing. He sat there when he told me to go, I go screw myself. Why did you do this? See, the look on your face is the exact look that was on everybody in the media's face, and I loved it. And I tried not to laugh, which I'm trying not to do now. The look on your face is precious. When I said that the MF word, all the media that was sitting down on the ground in front of me, because they didn't want to be in front of the cameras, their mouths hung open, going, "We haven't heard this shit before." No, you haven't, and this is why I'm here. This is why something's wrong. And all the media was perfect. They asked John, they asked myself after the presser and the gaggle. All of them to this day asked the same thing. But the board met the next day and did nothing. That's right. The Regents did nothing. They could have settled it that night, that same evening or the evening after. They could have made at least an offer, make something, or at least come forward and say, hey, we see these three guys that were there who were the public face of this. Let's reach out to them and apologize and do it publicly. Nope. Still. Now, again, as I said, John and I have the big defense targets on our back. Bring it on. Bring it on, because we're going to handle it for everybody. We have to. If Dr. Anderson was still alive right now, I would want to beat him to a pulp. But that's just not the way you handle things as an adult, is it? No. Even when
handle legally.
Right. Even though when he did this to me and I was just a kid, I still had the gumption to walk out and go to Schembechler and say, hey, wait a minute. What the hell just happened to me? But why didn't I tell my mom? Why didn't I tell my dad? Why didn't I tell my brother? I don't know. I was scared. Why didn't I go to Harold Shapiro? God, if I would have gone to Harold Shapiro in 1982 and walked into his office, because his door was always open to students, always. If I would have gone in there and said something, maybe this would have come to an end. Maybe it would have been to an end in the 80s. Because I guarantee you Harold would have done something, because his mouth would have fallen on the floor and going, he did what to you? He did what? Yeah, I know. Harold Shapiro. He's still a good man, but man, do I feel stupid for not doing it. But I'm the student. I'm the broadcaster. I went to the right guy, who was my head football coach. Bo was my coach too, guys. Bo was my buddy. He was my coach, and I figured if Bo tells me to do something, that's the word of God. Because if anybody who knew Bo Schembechler knew, he didn't mess around. Bo was the type of guy that was so serious all the time. And I'll share a side story with you, which I know you'll love as a sports guy. At the Big Ten kickoff, 1982 going into 83, we only had one quarterback at the time, Steve Smith, if you remember that kid. Steve Smith was the quarterback of Michigan. He was the only quarterback on the depth chart. I swear to God, we had nobody else under him going into the football season. And I'm a schmuck. I'm sitting there with Schembechler in front of this gaggle of reporters sitting next to him. And the reporters got up. I put my microphone down. I leaned over like this. I whispered to Bo. I said, hey, Coach, I got a stupid question off the record. He goes, what? I said, what the hell happens if Steve goes down in the middle of the season and we got nobody? He grabbed me by my shirt like this, and he said, okay, you son of a bitch, don't jinx me. Like, okay. He goes, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, buddy. He goes, no. Now, at the Rose Bowl of 1983 against UCLA, a guy named Don Smith took him out. Don, may he rest in peace, was a great quarterback. He took out Smith in the second quarter. Schembechler, at the end of the game, came to the Rose Bowl media house. He came in looking for me. Now, everybody's standing around. I'm standing around talking to one of the referees. Now, you're not supposed to, as you know from broadcasting, you never speak to the referees. But I did at the end of the game, thanking them for an incredible game. They held everything together. And all of a sudden, the door comes slamming open, and I hear Schembechler yelling, where the fuck is Goldman? I'm like, oh, shit. He pulls me to the side, and he goes, you son of a bitch, you were right. I said, what? He goes, you were right about Steve Smith. Boy, do we look stupid today. I'm like, yeah, you do. Because that's what killed us. That's how we lost the Rose Bowl. Of course, we had no quarterback. He said, "This is why I love you, because you had the balls to you at least whisper it to me. You didn't call me out in public." He said, "You whispered it to me after all the media came up." He goes, "That's the most ballsy thing anybody has ever done, because you didn't want to embarrass me." I said, "No, I didn't. But I had a general question that it was just me." He goes, "Yeah, look what happened." That's how good of a relationship we had. This is how Bo operated. So I knew when Bo said, "Go to Canham," he meant it. And all of his reactions afterwards, you cannot blame the man. You want to take his statue down? I will fight you every step of the way, as will John. Bo still is, I don't want to say our hero. Yeah, he's still my dad. He's my other dad, as I want to call it. You've got to have loved the man for what he did. He raised generations of football players, let's be honest. All the generations of football players he raised, I think we all did pretty good. Even the broadcaster kid here, we did pretty good in life, but we've carried a burden with us. And if my burden is also to defend Bo Schembechler until my dying day, I'll do it. But you're never going to hear me say anything really sweet about Don Canham anymore, other than the fact, yeah, he was a great athletics director, but boy, what a schmuck. And again, I do apologize to his family. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve the negative publicity. He's been gone for years. Seriously, they don't deserve what's coming down the pike. And already is out there. And what's coming down the pike's a lot worse. You go to trial, it's going to be a lot worse. I don't want to embarrass the man any more than I have. Can I be honest? I don't. He's embarrassed enough. And he should be turning over in his grave in embarrassment for what he did not do. And if that's going to be his lasting, how do I want to put it? His eternal memory, if he's got to live with that, good. Good. You wronged a lot of people. You really wronged a lot of people, me being one of them. Now, of course, I don't wish the man to go due south. I just wish for him to eventually, wherever you and I go, I'd love for him to come up to me someday and say, "You know what? I was an asshole. I'm very sorry." I'd accept that. Dead or not dead, I'd accept that. Yeah, look what you did to all of us. That was my comment, would be to him. Look what you did to everybody that came after me. That's a lot of horror that these people are living through. A lot. And I can't even imagine how the girls especially, and again, I hate to sound sexist, but the girls, you sexually assault a woman like that, oh dear God, especially a girl who's 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. Yeah, maybe it's going to leave a lasting impression on the men, but look what it leaves on them, the trust issues. You're going to want a man to get near you after what he did? This is my worry. And John and I, thankfully, we have families, what have you, all these other folks. A lot of them have stayed single, though, which was really strange that I found that out during our presser. A lot of guys just couldn't maintain relationships. Gee, I wonder why. After what happened to them. And the best thing that John and I will ever do is unmask ourselves. We have to put this to an end. And let me take it, stretch it even bigger further than this. If what he and I are doing can prevent any other universities from having this happen to them again, we've done our job. We really have. Now, one of the things John and I want to set up, the university has said, oh, we would like to as well, but they're really not. We need to set up across the board at every single large and small campus across the nation, boards that can deal with, meaning students involved on the boards as well, that anytime a sexual assault is reported, it's done and handled immediately. We don't bury it. We don't cover it up. We bring it forward. If one student comes forward, I don't care to the football coach, basketball coach. I don't give a damn if it's a track coach. It don't matter to me who. If they come forward and say somebody sexually assaulted me and they're trusting you as the coach on that, you better come forward as the coach to this particular board so we can investigate it. That's what we're trying to bring forward. No more cover-ups. Because too many people have suffered across the big four right now, big five, sorry. At this, and of course, Eastern Michigan. So we have 3 schools now in Michigan that we know this happened to. That's horrifying. 3 schools, God forbid this ever happened at Central, I would beat the hell out of somebody if I found out this ever happened at CMU. Because we should know better now. We should know better from Larry Nassar and Robert Anderson and Jim Jordan and Penn State with Paterno and the other idiot. We should
Sandusky.
Sandusky, yeah,
Jerry Sandusky.
I didn't want to mention his name, but thank you very much. What a schmuck he was.
It's the
Didn't even
truth.
be open.
We can mention anyone we want.
Yeah. And look what happened to the kid who was the football coach. They can't even find a job anymore because he went public. No one wants to hire him, and he went public. Jesus Christ. Why are we punishing him? And this is how the universities operate. Punish, punish, embarrass, punish, silence. We can't live like that, guys. Not us. We're not allowed to do that anymore. We can't. Our job, meaning John's, mine, yours, is to bring forward as much as we can to try to prevent further sexual assaults. That's what's done is done. Let's be honest. What's done is done. It cannot be changed. History cannot be changed. But if we can prevent something forward from this point, we've done our jobs well. That's all we want to do now. Besides settling, we need to be able to bring this forward so nothing will happen ever again. And to have these kind of boards set up so that this will definitely will never happen again. So that if student goes to a coach, there'll be a group of peers as well as professors and trained counselors that'll be able to handle these kind of sexual assaults. And Michigan is not wanting to do that so far.
Yeah, because it's thin skin.
Right, it's thick skin. Michigan State hasn't even set up something so well yet. They're trying. You have now you have the brand new athletics director. He came out the other day and said, yeah, he wants to set it up. So he wants to talk to John and I, which is good. We'll speak to him and we'll help him set it up, whatever he needs to do. And if Michigan State then becomes the prime sexual assault counseling of the big schools, that's fine by us. If Michigan doesn't want to do it, and Michigan State wants to over Ohio State and Penn State, who's sitting back doing it, we're fine. Michigan State now has learned their lesson. They want to make it whole. They want people to never have this happen to them again. That's all we're asking for. We want it to never happen to another student, underline the word student, or student athlete, because students have been sexually assaulted too. As you know, up in Michigan, you had those professors that were fired. I'm talking within the last year that this happened to people. So you have students on one end that are being sexually assaulted, students that are being sexually assaulted and raped on campus, and sexual assault that may happen within an athletic department. Can we bring this all to a pyramid and try to stop it? And if we stop it the right way by having these kind of commissions, no one has to suffer anymore. That's all we're asking. And of course, that's what we'll bring out in trial too, because this is what we suggested to Michigan. They ignored us. They told us to go to hell. Okay. We got big shoulders. We'll continue to march forward, John and I, and we'll continue to do what we need to do until the day that this comes to an end. And when it comes to an end, we'll continue to move forward to help every other school that we can based on our experience. That's what our jobs are going to be. As John and I say, whenever he and I end up retiring, that's what we want to do, is go forward and help schools. That'll be our side jobs after we retire. We can help the school set it up. We can make sure that this never happens again, because if it does, we nip it in the bud from the start, and no student, man, young girl, young boy, young man, young woman ever have to suffer again. Because too many kids have suffered on campus and away from campus from sexual assault. And sexual assault, as you know, is still a very, very personal, private thing for people.
Always.
We've got to, we need these people to come forward and say, this happened to me. Don't be afraid. This happened to me, and know that there is going to be a collection of help out there for you.
Right.
That's my story, as they say.
Yep. A trial is indeed necessary. So
yes, sir. I agree that it is. Sadly, we may have to go to trial, which we don't want to do. I don't want the university to have to suffer that, but oh well. I'm so sorry. If a trial has to be a trial, that's your problem, guys, not mine. We gave you every opportunity to settle. We've given enough publicity out there over the course of these last 2 years to settle this, and you've ignored us. And especially, you would think, after guys like John and I unmasked ourselves, and we're no longer this EB-17, we're no longer the man behind the microphone. We came public and said, hi, this is us. You think they would have done something? No, they painted a target on us instead. Okay, that's fine. As that old saying is, bring it forward, bring it on. We're fine. John and I are ready for this.
Yep.
Sadly. Yep. And unfortunately, you have to have a podcast that even has to bring something like this forward. How horrible is that?
Well, I created this from the ground up a few years ago, almost a decade ago, and now it's on a primetime network, Stables Media. This is Stables Media right here.
And I'm glad
So-
you have, because every outlet that is available, that is needed. And again, I'll talk to anybody. Why? Because the facts need to be known, and the story is never going to change. To have a venue like yours right here in the state, as they say. Well, again, I'm in Florida. You're up in Michigan. You're home. Where are you, by the way, in Michigan? Where's your area of coverage?
Well, here at home, in between Lake City and McBain, just about 15 minutes east of Cadillac.
Oh, I know exactly where you are. Okay. So you're right in the heart of the woods, as they say.
Yeah, very close to the Misaki Golf Course, except on Wallenges Road, where we have a red horse barn somewhere. My parents have 3 horses. I live in this basement apartment. But hey, we have Wi-Fi. It may be limited, but it's working like a well-oiled machine.
And as long as you're able to bring stories out there like this, I am so proud of you. I really am. I'm very happy. I would like to see if you'd like to talk to John as well, and I'd like to have him talk to you. Whether it's even he and I together, that's fine, because his story is so unbelievable. Now, again, he's a man who went on to the NFL. John's experience of going from Michigan football to the NFL, so you know how much it's tearing it at a guy like him to love Michigan football, but to hate the university the way he does. And I'm the same way. I love Bo. I will always love the fact that I graduated from Michigan, even though I won't admit it to most people anymore. But we had an experience. And because of the fact that we are public like this, guys, we need to bring it to an end. I want no one else the rest of our lives to be able to suffer the way that all these plaintiffs have and all these people that have passed away have. That's all that counts now. And in fact, John and I shifted gears in June at the presser before he and I talked. We were going to talk about me. And we're like, wait a minute. There's too many guys in this room. Let's talk about we from this point going forward. And that's what we've done. And it's really begun to press the issue.
That's the team.
This is right. This didn't happen to me. This happened to us as a whole. It didn't happen to John. It happened to us as a whole. For those that can't speak, this is why we're here. For those that have passed away, this is why we're here. For those that are infirmed and definitely can't talk, we're here. Yeah. We'll always be here for them until the day this settles and afterwards.
Hell, I'll even not just talk to John and send him my way, by the way. I'll talk to those almost 900 claimants that were limited of public speeches by the University of Michigan.
Oh, absolutely.
At that time.
A hell of an idea. When I talk to John, when you and I, as they say, hang up here, I'm going to send him an email saying, you and I have to have talk, because I have a gentleman that wants to speak to you as well. And let's get involved, because John will talk to anyone too. We have to. We can't, as John said, he comes from Dallas to Michigan all the time to meet with people and whatever. I'm pretty much centered here in Florida because of COVID. I'm refusing to travel for obvious reasons. I'm just not doing it until the pandemic is over. But if we have a trial and if they want a deposition, I may actually fly up for the deposition. I want to see these defense counsel in person and look them in the eye and let them know who they're talking to. I don't want any of this remote stuff. I want to be
who they're lying to
and who they're lying to. Right. And I want them to dare try to come back at John and I and say, how do we know this ever happened to you? Those kind of questions. You guys are lying. Come on. It wasn't so. That was a cat, by the way, that just went across my keyboard. Thank you so much. If we can do this, my wife's cracking up in front of us because of the cat. Thanks so much. If we can give the depositions, and again, a trial, there's only 2 witnesses that are going to be needed, John and I. We don't want to put anybody else on the stand. There's nobody else that's needed. It's us. Once we're done with their stories, there ain't nothing left for the jury to hear. There really isn't. And I don't want to go to trial. It's an embarrassment to go to trial, but if that's going to be the end result, okay. Not a problem. Bring it on. We're ready.
Hey, you're entitled, whether you like it or not.
Right. All 1,000+ people, and this is, I'm saying over 1,000 because this is what it's got to be, who were hurt by this man. Everybody deserves their day in court, as they say.
Yeah.
And if you want to settle with us beforehand, hey, that's great. If you make a universal settlement and it works, and the public apologies are there, meaning, again, You better bring John and I up on campus and publicly apologize to us in front of the cameras. We'll be there. Otherwise, it's not acceptable. We're not going. We will not settle. The public apology has to be part and parcel. I want you to be embarrassed enough to apologize publicly. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And the president of the university is the one that needs to do that, not the board of trustees. Nope, not the regents, the president.
Yep, they all need a grow set. It starts with top with President Mark Schlissel and athletic director Ward Manuel, who's still alive at least.
Yes, he is still alive. But he was not around back in the 80s, of course.
No. He was, but at least he's aware of it.
Oh, yeah, at least he's aware. Of course he's aware of it. The whole world is aware of this now. Come on, you've got the Jerusalem Post, let's see, I've had interviews with the Jerusalem Post, with Al Jazeera, John and I have. So, yeah, the whole world knows what this man did. Wow, what an embarrassment, Michigan. They don't care. Crickets.
Yeah, okay. Michigan, all it does is keep deflecting the same way it deflects criticism while blaming the officials in that 2016 screw job at Ohio State.
Yes, sir.
It's a metaphor. That's my metaphor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a hell of a screw job at Ohio State. And then to keep electing this man to Congress who covered it up. Good God. What is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
But at least at Michigan State, thank God it's settled. Penn State is settled. Eastern Michigan, they may settle. I don't know. But certainly Ohio State and Michigan are just the arrogant asses of the world.
Yeah, they deserve one another.
Yes, they do. You know how I feel about Ohio State. You're the same way. We can't stand Ohio State. So I wish nothing but not good at Ohio State.
Right. It's one of the biggest rivalries in sports. I get it. But even rivalries don't matter to me. The truth does.
And by the way, the loss on Saturday in football with Ohio State, wouldn't that make me feel good? But that's just me. Yeah,
Oregon. Yeah, Oregon was the better team. It was a fight.
You're talking Mario Cristobal, who was the coach down here at FIU before he went to Oregon. Wow. And now they're talking about him at USC. Yeah. He's never going to leave Oregon.
Right. He even coached Penei Sewell that was drafted by the Detroit Lions, and he's still doing a hell of a job as offensive tackle for the Lions. Brad Holmes can draft way better even than Bob Quinn.
Yeah, and here I feel so bad for Jeff Okudah. Oh, that poor kid.
I know. He hasn't played well, but he's injury prone as well.
Right. Another bad. I don't want to say bad draft pick because he's such a good kid, but wow, his career's done. He can't come back from this. No way is a cornerback going to come back from an Achilles.
Yeah, he's got to hang it up. Sad to say.
And he's only
he was an elite player with Ohio State too. Third overall last year.
And then he gets hurt with the Lions in his rookie year. Now he's hurt again. I'm sure you remember the 70-yard touchdown that Garoppolo threw where he falls down in trying to defend the receiver. Oh, that was embarrassing, the poor kid. But now I understand that if he's hurt, he's hurt. No problem. He was hurt during that play. Okay, that makes sense. If your Achilles goes and my Achilles is gone, you're going to fall right to the ground. That
may have been the breaking point when he tore his Achilles. When he was covering the guy, and then he just tripped and fell and tore his Achilles and left him, as a result, wide open for that TD bomb.
Exactly. Now, of course, if you're me, this is the joke I've used over the years, and all of us Lions fans can appreciate it. When anybody says to me, why the hell are you a Detroit Lions fan your whole life? Well, guys, look, when we were 0-16, that was my Super Bowl. We were undefeated in reverse. They look at you like, what did you just say? I said, yeah, we were undefeated in reverse. Then the Cleveland Browns had to tie us, those bums. Now, to me, also growing up, a winning season for the Lions is 5 victories and under. So if we go 5 victories again this year in the 17-game season, I'm happy. I'm not used to anything like 9 games, 10 games. That one year when we made the NFC Championship and lost to Washington, I'm not used to that. None of us are. We're used to the lovable losers in Detroit. Now, don't expect Dan Campbell to turn it around quick. It's not going to happen. Give him 3 years, and maybe it'll happen.
Right.
And do I even like Jeff Goff? Don't get me started. I miss Matthew Stafford. I like him. I'm glad he's doing well with the Rams. He needed the change. But Jeff Goff, I mean, come on.
Jared Goff?
Jared Goff. I'm calling him Jeff Goff. Jesus. Jared, I mean, come on. We could have done better. We could have drafted Justin Fields.
Right.
Hello.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, at least we drafted an offensive tackle for more protection for the quarterback. Jared Goff, 352 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Yep. No kidding. We broke it down
He actually
to
has an
Ed, Frank, and I broke it down 2 days ago. Yeah, offensive line.
I
yes.
was watching when he broke it down. His offensive line is getting very good now. Defense, we don't got one. I'm sorry.
No.
We don't got a defense.
That's the only lie. That's the only problem for the Lions. It's not the coaching. Even Jeff Moss was giving Dan Campbell props for 4th downs and overall game management. Follow him on Twitter at HowAboutIt91, by the way. I'm sure you already do.
Yeah, follow him on Twitter. The guy's wonderful.
Yeah, really visit his website, DetroitSportsRag.com, and it's sponsored by Cali Tickets.
Yeah, he covers the Lions beautifully, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And we have so many good people out there that are believing in the Lions. I'm sorry, guys, not yet. 5 victories is all I'm calling for this year. To me, even 6 victories would be good. Give Dan a shot. Give the GM a shot. We've got a lot of crap to get rid of still, a lot of crap to rebuild. You can't build Rome overnight, and you're certainly not going to build a defense overnight. It's going to take at least 2-3 seasons, without questions. And now that Jeff Okudah is out, you better be on the market for a cornerback. I'm sorry. You need one.
Yep.
You better find somebody who's in the release or somebody who's on a practice squad. You better find anybody because we got nothing right now.
Yeah, I heard on the NFL app, I read on a notification app that Okudah was out. Of course, since Okudah was out for the year, the Lions were in talks for a Seattle veteran cornerback or a defensive back. I didn't look up his name yet, but yeah, Jeff Okudah's sophomore season over after ruptures. Oh, hang on a second.
Sophomore
That's
season.
not it.
They
but
had to call it the sophomore season on this poor kid.
But yeah, let me look at Bleacher Report real quick.
Yeah, I was looking at the Athletic as well, and I don't see anything.
Yeah, Flowers on behalf of his future found. Yeah, that's Trey Flowers. He's the one that forced that fumble right before the end of the game. Lions protect 4 players on the practice squad.
Trey Flowers has always been a really good ball player.
Darn right he has. Lions also waived rookie offensive lineman Tommy Kramer.
Oh boy,
never heard of him.
Not the quarterback. Yeah, never heard of Tommy Kramer.
Yeah, maybe signing quarterback. Wait, I got his name. Quinton Dunbar, the cornerback from Seattle.
And I know who Quinton Dunbar is. Okay, let's sign him.
Yep.
You can't. Let me put it this way: you can't do any worse.
Right. So
you cannot do any worse if you bring him in. He certainly can help a little bit.
Yeah. Veteran cornerback Quinton Dunbar, the 29-year-old defensive back, spent training camp with the Lions, but was eventually cut by the team when Dunbar had to spend an extended amount of time, away from the facility due to a personal issue.
Ay.
But according to a report from NFL Network, the Lions have since reached out to Dunbar to rejoin the team, but the cornerback is currently weighing his options.
Oh, Jesus.
An update, Dunbar addressed this report on his Instagram page, seemingly confirming that he'll be coming back. Oh,
good. I'll take him. I really will take him, to be honest with you.
He also opens up that his uncle died at the beginning of camp. That was the personal issue.
That was the personal reason. That's why.
Yep.
Okay, that
and he needed time away. And he needed time away to take care of himself. He said, quote, contemplated with myself time and time again about not playing this year. I lost my uncle early in training camp and felt like taking care of myself. And my mental was bigger than football. But Unc, this one for you, I got so much more to prove. Top. That's
well,
it.
He does have a lot more to prove. There's no question. It would be great to have him.
Yeah, so we're going to keep our eyes on that Quinton Dunbar situation.
That'd be good. Very good.
Yeah. I'm going to message that to Frank and Ed in our Michigan Sports Truth podcast private group chat on Facebook Messenger.
Sports people, the Tigers are coming back. The Pistons are trying to make it. The Red Wings are at least doing very well on their rebuild. It's going to turn around again in Detroit. We'll have the city of champions again, folks. I do promise you that. Can I promise the Lions? No, but I can promise everybody else will be decent. Lions, of course, since 1960, still have a lot to prove to everybody. Bill Ford destroyed that ball club. Let's be honest. He used it as I don't want to make that joke. He used it as a tax write-off. He used it for something. It was not good.
At least Dan Campbell even proved me wrong. He even proved Jeff Moss wrong, proved us all wrong with his brain.
His brain is I love
not perfect necessarily, but really smart.
But
he meant business too.
Yes. I will say one thing. It's about time we had a coach in Detroit with a sense of humor. Oh my God, the guy's
not just a sense of humor, but more importantly, like a winning mentality, like a comeback fighting mentality, unlike Matt Patricia. Dan Campbell, I think, is the man. Even Jeff Moss does.
I think it was in the Free Press. So let me try to get the Free Press. I can't remember the writer. Maybe it was the News, who made the comment that at least with Dan Campbell, and you see him standing on the sidelines, he's active. He's not pitched a tent like what Patricia looked like. Ouch. Patricia was not the right coach, guys. He just wasn't. I don't care. They tried to recreate the New England way. It didn't work. You cannot create the New England way. Okay, tell that to Tampa Bay. Never mind. At least the Tampa Bay has a great coach, too. So let's not go there. But if Matt Stafford, and I'm going to say this up front, if Matt Stafford makes the Super Bowl, I'm happy for him. He deserves nothing but the best. He gave his heart in Detroit. He did.
I saw him throw a bomb for the LA Rams.
Oh, my God, that bomb was perfect. That bomb was perfect. But he also has an offensive line that he did not have in Detroit. Now, I can't say that he didn't have receivers. He had Calvin. Of course, he always was targeting Calvin. He had Golden Tate. He targeted Golden Tate. Of course, they got rid of him, too. I'm not going to talk about it. We got rid of too many good guys. It's like the Tigers. If I could just beat the heck out of Mike Ilitch and say, please don't get rid of Scherzer, Verlander, David Price, and Porcello. Please don't do that. Wow, now we have two of these guys who have 3,000 strikeouts, and they did not get them in Detroit. How hurtful is that, man? I'm sorry. I'm happy for Max that he did that on Sunday. I'm happy for JV. JV may come back to the Tigers as a free agent. I know that's what Chris Ilitch has talked about. He'd love to have him back for the last couple of years of his career if he's going to make a comeback from Tommy John. Hey, that would be great to have him here for 2 years. Miggy's retiring in 2 years. That would be nice to have both of them on the same team again.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody's not a fan of Miggy with his old Olay strikeouts, hey, guys, he's close to 3,000. Be nice.
Oh, right. I mean, Jeff Moss, that's not Jeff Moss's reason why he doesn't like him. It's about his past, his domestic violence, and his other issues.
What do you mean, driving?
But yeah, we understand that.
Pulled over.
Yes.
Having that woman with 2 other kids in Orlando. Yeah, that's not good either.
No. It's still part of his past. We can never forget about any of that stuff.
No, we can't. Yeah, as much as I love Miggy, it's like, what in the hell? Dude, I'm glad you could afford to pay 2 families, but come on. Yikes. So, at least, okay, he's flawed. Okay, he's a flawed ball player, but he's still a great one. He's still a masterful hitter. Oh, he's only hitting singles now. I don't care if he hits singles now when he drives and runs. That's all I care about. Like he did the other night. That single that drove in Scope. There you go. He's
finally surpassed 500 career home runs. I saw his one in Toronto, the 500 milestone,
that was beautiful.
And then the third decker for 501 in St. Louis. Oh my God! I think he's still got it in him.
Yeah, he does.
Through 2023.
Oh my God,
we'll see.
Hit that. Well, I like the way he said he will retire in 2 years, and that's fine by me. Not a problem.
Retire. Yeah,
he'll be 40 years old.
Can't last forever.
Right. If the Tigers are smart, they keep him on the staff after that. Or at least keep him in the organization, keep him as a teacher, put him in the minors, do whatever you need to do. But
be it.
Yeah, he's still a very respected leader in the clubhouse. Everybody loves him because he's crazy. If you watch the man in the dugout, he's what the epitome of a ball player should be. He sings, he dances, he throws towels, he throws things at people. He'll pick you up in the middle of nowhere. That's the kind of guy.
He'll motivate you.
He'll motivate you. That's the kind of man I love. And if he hasn't gotten depressed, which he said he had over the last couple of years as we were doing bad, now he has a good manager. He's got a good attitude. The team has a good attitude. I know they want to spend on free agents next year. Yes, we need a shortstop. No question. We need, oh my God.
We need better defense. Stop committing errors.
Thank you. Stop committing your freaking errors.
That goes with Nico Goodrum, Jonathan Scope, Willie Castro, and even Jamer Candelario.
Yes, sir. Oh my God, Jamer the other night.
They committed around 10 errors.
Well, here was Jamer the other night. I'm going to olay the ball and it tips off his glove because he just olayed it instead of jumping for it. Excuse me. I'm going to bench your ass for that one. You should be a Aurelio Rodriguez dude who is much smaller than you who could jump 50 feet high and catch that ball. You just stuck your glove out like, hey, it's like me and my beef with the outfielders. This is me being an old outfielder. Your job is to catch the ball. I don't care if you're at Old Tiger Stadium. I don't care if you're at
Pick the ball cleanly.
Climb the goddamn wall and catch the ball. Don't just go, oh, when the ball barely sails over the wall by this.
Even Akil Badu has been having trouble reading fly balls.
Yes.
As good of a hitter as he is offensively, he can't read fly balls on the defensive side of the diamond.
Nope. Can I have Austin Jackson back in center field, please? Please, just for a little bit.
As long as he doesn't commit too many errors, fine.
Right.
Good.
Good. If you look at the history of the Tiger shortstops and the history of the second baseman, oh boy, this year
third baseman too, including Brandon Inge, who committed too many fielding errors per season.
Don't get me started on Brandon. That's why I always say to people, "Can I have Aurelio back, please?" He's dead.
Carlos Guillen committed too many errors as a shortstop in 2006, for example.
Sir. Thank you. You notice how our outfielders never really committed many errors. And what are you doing now? Diving for the ball and missing, that's one thing. But what are you doing misreading the damn ball? And you can't see the sun is there when the lights are on. Put your sunglasses on if necessary. I overran it. How the hell did you overrun the ball in zero wind?
Because you read it. You misread it.
You misread it from the bat. You misread
Simple.
it. I'm running in. Oh shit, I got to run back. No. You should have run back in the first place because the ball, obviously, from the way the angle was off the bat, I can guarantee it was heading towards the warning track. What's wrong with you? This is where, when people have rightfully said, and you and I have to agree with them. I don't care any arguments. We've had some minor leaguers that should be still in the minor league that are playing Major League Baseball. Some guys just won't make it on any other roster. Even the Miami Marlins, some of these guys couldn't make it on.
Spencer Torkelson, for example, Riley Green, Dylan Dingler.
Can we continue? Yes. Boy, do we have a minors. We've got some guys in the minors that are phenomenal. Okay, we didn't want to bring them up this year. That's great. But they damn well better be on that spring training roster next year. All of these guys. Because you need to compete in 2022 like you promised you would. Get Correa if he's available. I don't know if we can afford him. Or no, let me rephrase that. We can afford all these guys. Do we want to spend the money? What will it take to bring Verlander back? 2 years, maybe 1 year, 13. Who knows?
Which brings me to this. Moss was also tweeting that A.J. Hinch, as a rumor, a Tigers rumor, cannot stand Al Avila. Al Avila is going to get kicked upstairs. And a new general manager approved by Hinch will be brought in.
How about if we would have kept Dave Dombrowski? Thank you. What did he do wrong? Oh, he didn't win a World Series, so Mike fires him? Excuse me? You dumb jackass. You never should have done that. You never should have fired Dombrowski. Never should have let Scherzer go. Well, you had the opportunity to make an offer, and you didn't even make one.
Well, I think the real reason why Mike Yelich fired Dave Dombrowski is because he was seeking a job with the Toronto Blue Jays. That's how I remembered how Dave Dombrowski was fired.
He was approached by the Blue Jays, so we got rid of him for talking to them.
Yeah, failing to win the World Series is not the reason why. I understand that's still no World Series ring since 1984, the year I was born personally.
Oh my God, you're a baby. Sorry. I remember the 1984 World Series. Let's not go there.
I was born April 13th. That was like 6 months before they won that ring, that last ring. At least I was alive.
At least we had a hell of a team in 84. Oh my God, did we have a team? We
had a hell of a team.
Right. We had a hell of a team in 2006. We had a hell of a team in 2012. Who cares? Now, this is the way I look at it, and I will say this the rest of my life. We finished the ALCSs in 2006 and 2012 too quickly. too quickly. We should have gone to 6 games, guys. We would have been better prepared for the series. San Francisco swept us. Are you kidding me? St. Louis blew us out. Are you kidding
Because
me?
the Tigers were slow. St. Louis was smarter and quicker.
Right.
San Francisco was smarter and quicker.
And look at San Francisco.
Doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter to me or anyone else how many games the Tigers won the ALCSs in 2006 and 2012. It was the slowness of the Tigers in both World Series against the Cardinals and Giants. That was the problem.
Well, of course, you had Prince Fielder that weighed 720 pounds. Never mind. So.
He could not run. He could not run. No. That was the truth. It's the truth. You exaggerated, but
that young man, that boy, when he ran, you could feel the seismic. What are those called? The monitors going off. He was huge.
Yeah,
really, but my God, did we have a team? And
he just didn't run too well.
Here's the thing: it doesn't matter to me if we won the World Series or not. The way you broke this team up was wrong. You just destroyed this team and said, "Hey, everybody, Detroit deal with it for 5 years." Yeah,
Al Avila broke it up.
Don't worry, the fans will still come. We'll deal with it. What did you just say?
No, that was Chris Ilitch's words. Those were Chris Ilitch's words.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. After Mike Ilitch died. And Chris Ilitch kept saying that year after freaking year.
Yes, sir. And here's
when Ron Gardenhire was manager.
Right. And this is what kills me.
That's what made me demand Chris Ilitch sell the freaking team.
You and me both. And for anybody to say, oh, the Tigers have done great with the draft picks. Why have we done great with the draft picks? Because we were so bad. We had the number 1, number 2, or number 3 draft pick for 6 years. How long? What did you expect? Of course, they were there for the taking. If you would have had a championship team and not gotten rid of these guys, you wouldn't have had it. None of these guys would have existed.
A World Series championship,
right? But now you're trying to rebuild. Now you've got the right core. I like our pitching core.
With AJ Hinch's managing.
Yes, and AJ Hinch.
I
so wanted us to hire him so badly. I can't begin to tell you. The moment Gardy quit is the moment I turned to my friends and said, they better bring AJ in. Oh, they'll never hire him. Yeah, they will. And they hired him. That was the only good thing Avila's done, by the way. He hired AJ Hinch.
The reason they didn't want them is because they cheated. Get over it. He's still a smart manager. Come on.
He's still a very smart. Look what he's done this year. Now, it's not his fault that we have 4 or 5 guys that just can't field the damn ball on a ground ball.
Get rid of them.
Run balls in the outfield. It's like, nah. And then I will say one thing, our base running is much better this year. He's really turned the guys loose. Robbie Grossman has been a fantastic addition. I will give
he's got a really good eye at the plate.
Yep.
Drew a walk-off win two days ago against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Jonathan Scope, bringing him back and now signing him for 2 years. Great move.
Right. Just got to work on the defense.
Right. We have a catcher, yes, in the minors, but Jake Rogers. Dylan Dingler, yes. Jake Rogers, he's gone. Griner.
Until 2023, likely.
Right. Now, Eric Haas.
Grayson Griner sucks.
Thank you very much. Eric Haas, I'm in love with that kid.
I like Eric Haas, yeah.
Oh, my God.
He does not suck at all. No, he's really good.
And he can play
He has produced all over the place this season for the Tigers.
Yes, sir. And this is where I say the guys.
That's my number 1 catcher.
Yes. And now, Rookie of the Year. Do I really want to say it's between him and Baddoo? Yes, it has to be. I would really prefer it
be Tigers Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I would really prefer it be Eric Haas because he's done a lot more than Baddoo. Let's give Baddoo credit. That kid has no experience until this year. He's done good.
Yeah, Baddoo was hit majestically.
Right. And
unlike his defense.
Right. AJ has done great. Now let's work on the defense in the offseason. That will help because he's going to be with us for the next several years, and that's good. Park him in left field and right field. He's not a center fielder. We know that. Is Hill a center fielder? I like him. He's got good range.
He had a really good play when he got injured.
Right. I like him.
Made a good play.
But is he going to be your future center fielder? I'm not so sure. We need
I still give him time, more development.
Right. We need more bats. We need more power in the bats, and we need a hell of a lot better defense. We wouldn't have lost many of our games this year, let's be honest, if our defense would have come through. We would have been right in there.
Yeah, also pitching in relief also needs to be addressed Tigers
sir.
pitcher Jose Cisnero needed 8 stitches after taking a fall in his home, slipping on the stairs, and has been placed on the 10-day injured list.
God, isn't that like Giancarlo Stanton? Oh, I slipped in the shower and I got hurt. Yeah, okay. That's what that reminds me of. I mean, how do you fall and kill yourself? Well, it happens, but still.
Fall and injure yourself, not kill.
He's done
You're
for the
still
season.
alive.
Right. There's 16 games left in the season, so he's out for the remainder of the year. He's done. Jesus. And of course, I agree not bringing up Torkelson or the guys. That's cool. Let's bring them up next year. That's fine. Spring training should be an all-out war, and that's what I want. I want it to be a war for positions. And with
wins
AJ,
above replacement.
Yes. We need, oh my God, we definitely need guys who can help with the war because we're not doing too good. We're not doing too good at all, guys. Now look at San Francisco. Oh, they're a team of nobodies. That's pretty much true. They've done great. 96-50. Oh my God. Nobody expected that. That's the storyline of the year this year, guys, is the Giants. And if they can win the division of the Dodgers, over the $400 million payroll.
Giants, Dodgers, they're both good. What's the difference? The Dodgers are the defending champs. The Giants are a really upstart team again.
And look at Tampa Bay, the team of nobodies. We're playing great.
Right. The Tigers beat them 2 years ago, but the Rays are still really good.
The Rays are still very, very good. And the Red Sox, they've come back under Joey Cora. Look at that. Oh, he cheated. We fired him. They brought him back, and look what happened. Red Sox are playing good.
Yeah.
To bring Cora
he's
back
still smart,
after firing him,
just like AJ Hinch.
Right, he's very smart. I give these guys credit. Now, if they get rid, like you said, if they get rid of Avila, I think a lot of people in Detroit will be happy because we need a change. We really do. We need a big change in that front office. Yeah, I love what somebody in Detroit in the Free Press said the other day. Oh, let's bring Theo Epstein in. No, I don't want Theo Epstein in Detroit. No.
What do you want?
Who do I want? Well, if I can't bring Dombrowski back, to be quite honest with you, there are no available general managers that are out there. We're going to have to promote somebody from within who has a better personality than Al. And apparently, AJ has figured that the guys who they just promoted all have better personalities than Avila. But do I still want to keep it at home? I want some outside the box thinking. That's what I want.
There you go.
I want the Jim Campbells of the world. I want the Dave Dombrowskis of the world. I want these guys, or the Theo Epsteins when he was with Baltimore and the Cubs. I want that kind of a GM in my life because you need to think outside of the box in today's analytical, let me underline that word 12 times, analytical baseball world. Baseball ain't the same. Baseball has changed. It's all analytical now. We need to have outside the box thinkers. Because I am so sick of the people like, well, how is the analytics really working for in New York there and with the Yankees? Not so well this year with as many losses as they have. Oh, I believe in pure analytics. No, you got to have a combination of old school and analytics.
Right. You can't ignore either.
No, which Ronnie Gardenhire did not like, as you know. Ronnie was all old school. Ronnie was like Sparky
just
Anderson,
like Jim Leland.
Jim Leland, oh my God. He would sit in the dugout smoking a cigarette. I mean, come on, guys.
Oh, that cigarette's going to kill his brain one day and his lungs.
Oh, come on. Gates Brown, who is my...
Even his SOPA that Moss and his gang trashed in 2016, which was absolutely beautiful 5 years ago.
Yes.
It was on one of his YouTube channels, too.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I bet you've seen that, too.
Oh, yes. Now, when I take a look at guys like my oldest mentor, as they say, one of my oldest family friends was a guy named Gates Brown. I knew Gates and he and my dad were best friends.
The Gator.
And I grew up with Gates, with the Gator. And Gates is the kind of guy that would shove hot dogs in his mouth, of course, as you know, during football, during baseball games. He would run on bases with a hot dog shoved in his pocket, praying to God that he didn't have to slide. Those are the old fun days. I mean, Gates was an amazing hitter. I want, to be honest with you, I need a combination of a Norm Cash and a Al Kaline and a Bill Freehand back on my team. That's what we need. You need guys with guts and glory. And baseball just doesn't have many of those anymore. The old guts and glory are gone. We've got multi-billionaire kids. That's a way to put it. Mike Trout and the rest of them, yeah, okay. I'm not a big fan of Mike Trout. I just don't like he's doing all these ads. No. Mm-mm. Baseball players used to be just baseball players. Ball players, if they had an outside job in the offseason, that was great. None of them, trust me, Gates never made above $90,000 in an entire career. Can we go back to the old days, please, for 13, 14, 20 million? What is Miggy? $31 million? Verlander's $31 million?
I got the Spot Track app.
30. Oh, say that again?
Miggy's 38. I got the Spot Track app right here. The Spot Track app, the Detroit Tigers, 85 and change $1 million is their payroll right now.
Oh,
Miguel Cabrera.
He takes up 30 of it.
Yep, 85. Yeah, 85,578,404 is their 2021 payroll table.
And what is he? 31 something?
38.
Oh, he's 38. Holy God. So
yeah, he'll be 40. He'll be 40 through 2023, and he's got two player options for 2024 and 2025. After that, he'll be 42, and each player option is worth $30 million.
Oh my God! See, this is where baseball has fallen to pieces. Like when you see all these free agents that are signing for $365-400 million, what is wrong with these owners? Well, it's the only
Dave Dombrowski and Mike Ilitch both signed Cabrera to that albatross deal.
Yes, they did. They also signed Verlander to that deal.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't
Urinating Tree,
what he was asking for.
Yeah, Urinating Tree published a video 2 years ago about the Tigers' modern tragedy that involved Mike Ilitch from 2003 to 2017 beyond.
Yeah, it was a modern tragedy. I agree with you. From the moment he took over the team until he finally figured out what was going on. But look at the Red Wings and the success that all they had. Well, his first love, even though it was baseball, were the Red Wings.
Right.
He built that team into such a powerhouse. And for anybody who comes forward and says, the Red Wings suck, they've missed the playoffs. Dude, we made the playoffs 26 seasons in a row. How about you shut up?
25.
Excuse me.
That's what fans keep bragging about. But when Jeff Blashill took over, things started to decline. But that wasn't his fault because Ken Holland put him in that position. Ken Holland, that's his fault, by the way, for signing those albatross contracts for Justin Abdelkader, Danny DeKeyser, Darren Helm, Jonathan freaking Erickson, Jimmy Howard, Franz Nielsen.
Yeah, should we continue? How horrifying. And now, do I agree that we keep Jeff Blashill? Not when I got any like Gerard Gallant running around out there, who's supposedly Yzerman's best friend. Can I bring him in, please?
Gerard Gallant already, I think, was hired by the New York Rangers.
Yes.
But
we blew it. We let him go to the Rangers instead of dismissing Blashill and bringing him here. I think he would have done a great job.
Signed Blashill to another 2-year extension. Did Yzerman?
Yes, I don't understand what Stevie was thinking. I know he likes him. I know he likes continuity, but come on.
Yeah, he did hire Alex Tanguay as an assistant coach, and Alex Tanguay ran a hell of a power play with the AHL's Iowa Wild the last 2 seasons.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, Alex Tanguay can help Jeff Blashill a lot better than when Dan Bylsma let him down.
Right. Or you're looking at the next head coach of the Red Wings.
Yeah. Except who could it be? It's not Gerard Gallant anymore because
No. Mm-mm. But I'm going to give Blashill 2 more seasons. The Wings are rebuilding. We've got Moritz Seider coming in this year, which is a phenomenal thing.
Darren Helm's gone.
Right.
Val Phillips gone. Danny DeKeyser, I think, still has 1 year left. That's still Ken Holland's contract.
As much as I love Darren Helm because he had such good speed, he had to go. I'm sorry. It was time.
Even that wore out.
Yeah, it did. It wore out after a while. It really did.
Yeah.
And do we have a decent goaltender now? Yeah.
Howard?
Yes.
Kind of.
Howard.
Yeah.
Jimmy's gone.
Right. In his last 2 years, he was a mess.
He was a total mess his last couple of years. I agree. He should have retired. And even Chris Draper said that he should have retired for a couple of years before he did.
Yeah.
And if
At least-
Draper says that, and come on, Draper.
Wow.
I love that boy.
Yeah, Eisman and Draper. Yeah, they got some
What
balls
a
and
team,
brains to tell
what
you.
a team those two make, for, especially now when I've seen the last couple of years of their drafts. They've done well.
Yeah,
They've done really, really good. They want to rebuild the team the way that Yzerman rebuilt Tampa Bay. He built Tampa Bay into a super team. If he can build the Red Wings like that, we're going to be in some good shape in the next couple of years.
yeah.
Back in the playoffs, I'm happy. Right now, I'll just take the playoffs again so the fans can be happy. Give me a first round exit. I don't care, but you're back in the playoffs. It's like the Pistons. No. The Pistons need to keep rebuilding. I don't want them in the playoffs until they're right.
They did win the lottery, and they drafted Kate Cunningham straight up because he wanted to be in Detroit.
Got that right. Yes,
despite all the smoke screens and all that stuff.
Well, unlike the schmuck that went to Houston. Sorry.
Oh, Jalen Green? Yeah, he didn't want to be in Detroit.
Oh, my God. What a schmuck he was.
But even he was an elite player. Credit. They're both elite players. Cunningham and Green.
Yes.
Game on. That's part of it.
The Pistons, now they've gotten rid of every single player that it was on the roster before our new general manager came in. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting to see how he rebuilds this team. The fact that he got rid of them, I'm like, whoa, that took balls. That really did. Now you're giving a message. We don't want any lackadaisicals here.
Right. Now let's touch on Tom Gores. He ran a prison facility that he charged prisoners even more than $15 per minute.
Yes.
In prison phone calls.
I have never had much respect.
I even interviewed Bianca Tylek of Worth Rises a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Smith and Frank Razor and I interviewed Bianca Tylek.
I've never been a Tom Gores fan. What I don't like about him is I don't like an absentee owner. He's in California. We're here. I don't like that. I need an owner that's going to be around.
What I also don't like is him running around the court, like congratulating Andre Drummond. He's not. He's trying to be Mark Cuban, but except he doesn't yell at the referees at least. But right, still, Tom Gores is like that's about immature.
Yes,
as Mark Cuban used to be.
Yeah, but
as owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Cuban was fun. Cuban at least was fun. He was also a fun interview. Tom Gores, I am Tom. It's called "Don't Be Monotone" in your interviews, and he looks at you like with his head down.
Tom Gores is always on something.
Yeah, thank you. He always is, and I'm just so over it. Now, was Mr. D a great owner? Yeah. Was he a lot to compare to? Yeah.
Joe Dumars was a general manager, actually.
No, I'm talking about Bill Davidson.
Davidson, yes. He won the championship in 2004, the Going to Work Pistons.
Yep.
He almost won back-to-back.
And Bill Davidson was Guardian, which was local Detroit.
Yes.
We need a local owner for all of your teams now, except the Fords, who I want to get rid of, but never mind. I don't care what Sheila Hamp says. I still want the Fords gone.
Yeah, me too. The Fords. Martha Ford's day will come.
She's 9,000 years old now? I'm sorry, that was mean.
It was good. 93. 93. Oh, my
93
God.
years old. I give her credit. I really do.
Jesus
she knows
Christ.
that her husband just blew that team to hell in a handbasket. And I'm talking long before
the whole
he
family
brought in Matt Miller.
did. Yeah. Once Martha Ford passes away, which I don't hope.
I hope she lives to 100.
Right. Me too.
Once she passes away, you got to get rid of the team.
Yeah, and Sheila Ford Hamp may be likely to do so. It's sense.
Now, what would now here's the thing. In the Lions' current state, I don't know how much of value this franchise has, other than the fact you'd be buying the stadium, of course, and you'd be buying all those rights. But as a franchise, I'm an owner. I'm going to be looking at somebody who has a 60-plus year losing skid. Let's be honest, other than one or two maybe winning seasons.
Trying to turn it around.
I'm not going to give you top dollar for that team. No way. I don't care what the Fords would ask for. I can't do it. Because I know what the reputation is of this franchise. Now, maybe Dan Campbell can change it. Maybe. I'm hoping he can because he's a different head coach. He's the kind of head coach that you really want with a team. Yes, he's a former player. Yeah, he's a former Lion. But the enthusiasm that he brings forward 24/7, 365. Oh, my God. I love watching this man, and I love listening to his news conferences. He's the first coach that I can say since probably, let me go back to Monty Clark, who had that kind of a personality. And Monty really didn't have that same bubbly enthusiasm. I'll bite your kneecaps off type guy. I love that man for saying that.
Right. That's the only difference between Monty Clark and Dan Campbell. And even Sheila Ford hired Dan Campbell before they hired Brad Holmes as their general manager.
Yes, sir. She saw something, and I'm glad she did. When they first hired him, I was a Robert Saleh fan. I'm going to be honest. I thought Saleh would be great coming home from Dearborn, but no, not after watching what Saleh had. I dealt with the Jets this week.
On the field.
You're stuck there, dude. Sorry. Oh, my God, dude. I don't envy you.
We need better defense than that.
Yeah, you inherited a real shit team. Now, the Lions, other than defense, hey, we finally have an offense. We've got a special teams, except the kicker.
The defense. The kicker, Austin Seibert. It was at least 1 for 2.
It was 1 for 2. When he missed the first time, I felt so bad for the kid. I'm like, oh, that
was close, but it's just a little off.
His first kick as a Lion, he missed. Ouch. Okay, his second kick, that was fine. He handled the kickoffs great. We always have had a good punter. And if you look at the Lions, and I don't want to say this is the first year where it hasn't happened because Saber hasn't had enough time yet. The Lions have had traditionally since the 60s a great kicking, meaning field goal, kickoff, and punting team. They've always had great guys dating back to Wayne Walker long before even Eddie Murray showed up. That's always been the strong stay of the Lions. I don't want this new kid to blow that. I want the Lions to have him for 10 years because we've had such great kickers. He has a lot to live up on. That's a huge, huge, huge reputation that this kid's got to live up to from the past. Because you're talking, let's see, Jason Hansen was here almost 20 years. Eddie Murray was here almost 20 years. How long was he here? Was he here 10 years? No, less than that before he left.
Matt Prater.
Matt Prater. How long was Matt here?
Matt Prater was here since 2014.
So he didn't stay here that long, but my God, that he give you some great kicks. You knew that he was going to be good.
He nailed a 59-yarder. He nailed a 69-yarder, a 60-yarder, a 58-yarder, even a 59-yarder won it last year against the Washington football team.
Yes, sir. Speaking of jokes, sorry.
At the buzzer as time expired at home at Ford Field. I was like, 59 yards.
When I saw that, when
I saw it live.
I screamed so loud. I'm like, oh my, you were at the game?
I was watching on TV.
Yeah, me too. I screamed so loud.
We both did.
I was so happy. And of course, I can go back to Matt Prater when he was in London, how we beat Atlanta at the buzzer, as they say. With 0 on the clock.
That was in London.
Yeah, this is how good Prater was. This poor kid has so much to live up to. I would not want to be coming into the Lions as a kicker, not knowing what I'm replacing, not knowing that history since the 60s.
Yeah, it was his time to retire, though, I think.
Well, no, who did Matt go to?
The Denver Broncos.
He went back to Denver?
I believe so.
Whoa,
yeah, and
I did not know that. I didn't know where he ended up.
He even tweeted that out last winter, but I think he retired after that.
Okay. Yeah, because he had nothing left to prove. My God.
Right.
And it's the same thing that I say to people about Calvin Johnson. He had no reason to thank the Lions, not after everything that he went through, not after the regimes and what they didn't do for him. Yeah, I know he's coming back for the ring ceremony. That's a good thing. But guys, that man gave his heart and soul to Detroit, as did guys like Stafford, as did guys like Sanders, as did guys like Billy Sims and Steve Owens. They all walked away for one reason. All of them, including Calvin. They couldn't take losing anymore, man. How can you blame them? You can't be. Barry Sanders walked away from a record, a freaking record, because he couldn't take it anymore.
What does
that tell you? Right. What does that tell you about a man who does not want the rushing record, that he's so hurt and disappointed that he couldn't take losing anymore? I can't blame him. I'm surprised we've had some guys stick around as long as they have playing for losers. Although
Right.
when we unceremoniously just dumped our long snapper this year after 19 years, I like what Dan did. Campbell at least came through and said, "My bad, I'm a schmuck." Like he said, "I'm a schmuck. I'm an ass. I should never have cut the man on his birthday." Yeah, but he still was your long snapper, and you needed to keep him another year or two because he was that good. Yep. Well, he was fantastic. Oh, but he was missing a step or two. Show me where, Dan. What the hell was he missing a step or two? He could still snap the ball. He still could block. What more were you asking for? It's not as if you're asking him to run the 40 down the field. You should have kept him 1 more year, 2 more years, and let him retire on his own. That was bad on the Lions' part because he stuck it out for 19 years in this losing organization. He's one of the only ones who ever has, other than Jason Hansen and Eddie Murray. Let's be honest.
Me out of press. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was an article, was it in the Free Press? I think they were showing all the Lions players that have thrown passes, the top like 50 of them over the last 30. My God, have we had a lot of quarterbacks, guys. Oh, have we had a lot of quarterbacks.
Did it include Scott Mitchell?
Don't get me started on that schmuck. I will never forget. I was just living in Florida at the time when the Lions signed him as a free agent. And I love what the reporter said to Don Shula. They interviewed him, and someone said to him, "Coach, how do you feel about him signing with Detroit?" "Well, he's their problem now." Ouch. "Were you going to resign him?" "Nope." "Okay." Mm-hmm. And if Shula don't like you, you know you had a problem. Shula, the look on Shula's face is something I will never forget as long as I live. Nope. We don't want him. No. And he came to the Lions. Hey, look, I can say Rodney Peete, Eric Hansen. I can keep right on going, dude. All right. The phenomenal quarterbacks that we have not had. That's why 13 years of Matt Stafford, folks, you should celebrate that. You should applaud that. You should be happy you had this man for 13 years with all the injuries and the things that he was able to pull off for you. He done good. Well, he's playing good in Los Angeles. Well, look, yeah, he's got a great coach. He's got a great offensive line. He's got great receivers. Yeah, come on. He's got the best head coach out there right now that helps him. Did you see the way the coach was hugging and kissing him literally at the end of some of his throws? You've never saw that with the other Lions coaches. They never did that with him. He was celebrating the fact that this guy has a hell of an arm still. When he reared back and threw that long touchdown pass, it was like nothing for him. Now, the only other sidearm quarterback that I still see out there that is playing that well is Russell Wilson. Those two, when they throw a sidearm, I like that. Come on, Matthew throwing sidearm, he would throw you a sidearm at 900 miles an hour. That was the problem why the guy kept dropping it. He would fire it at you. And we don't have Marvin Jones anymore. It's like, come on, guys. We don't got
Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah, we need him, and we also need Golden Tate back. Can I have him, please? I like what Golden said. Golden came out. It was on Twitter. I don't know if you
anyone that's good, whether it's a returning Lion or not.
Yep. I like what Golden said on his Twitter. He was so complimentary towards Matt Stafford. He was amazing after Stafford's game. He came out and said, "Would you look at how good Matt Stafford is? How proud I am of my boy." I'm like, whoa, you two don't even play together anymore, and you still love him. Yeah, that's what we need. We still need leadership in Detroit, and boy, are we absent for it. Is Goff going to be a good captain? I hope. Give him time. It's only been 1 game.
The real leader is Dan Campbell.
Yes, sir. If Dan Campbell can I'm going to be blunt, if he can whip the asses of these boys in shape, and he can bring good personnel in who will believe.
And keep up the smarts. In-game smarts.
Yes, he needs. Jeff Okudah did not have game smarts. I'm sorry. You need guys. No,
he gone.
He gone. You don't have anybody other than maybe. Do I want to say that our first round draft pick? Yeah, he's got smarts. I like the kid. He has got some smarts on that offensive line like I have not seen out of a young man in years. He played great. He was knocking these people down. He was kicking people's ass from the defensive side. He was taking care of Bosa. Did you hear what Bosa said at the end of the game? He thinks he's going to be a great player. For Bosa to come out and say that is amazing. So Bosa has respect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and boy, did we blow that. We could have had Bosa too. Never mind. All the guys that we bypassed over the years. But at least we're not drafting wide receivers in the first round anymore, right, Matt? Sorry, that was mean.
No, we're not. No, that was not. No, that was not mean at all. That was not mean at all. That's
Dear
the way
God,
this works.
You're right.
It has
We
to work.
blew it for so bad. This was a great this. I don't want to say this is a great draft class. This is a very good draft class this year. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
He did good for his first draft. Now let's see what he does next year. I guarantee it's only going to be better.
Brad Holmes,
and no, he's not going to have the number 1 or number 2 draft pick. Because I do think that we're going to probably be number 7 or 8 or 10. Somewhere in the top 10 will be if we only
draft any kind of defender, whether it's a defensive tackle, defensive lineman, defensive end, defensive back, cornerback, safety, you name it.
Right. Or as Golden Tate would say, hey, I would love to trade up, but I got nobody to trade up with. Oh, yeah. He said that once and he was right. We don't have anybody. We don't have anybody to trade up for if we want to move up, let's say, from 10 to 5. We don't have anybody except for draft picks to give, and we're not about to give away
the trade up.
No, we're not giving away
defender.
Right, not giving away those Rams draft picks over the next couple of years. We're going to use them. Those draft
gotta
picks
use
we
them.
got. Yeah.
Don't anybody believe those smoke screens about trading that top overall pick. Screw the mainstream media, okay?
Agreed.
Kind of like Ed and I persuaded toward our audience about Kate Cunningham and the Pistons.
Right. You cannot give up your number 1 pick no matter who you are, ever.
Ever.
And I don't give a damn what sport. Let's be honest. You cannot give up that number 1 pick because you're giving up the best talent in the draft. Now, do I want to say that Trevor Lawrence was the best in the draft? Give the kid time. He didn't have a good game in Jacksonville, but it wasn't expected either.
Well, in college, yes, but give him time anyway in the pros.
Give him time. Let's see what he can do. The number 1 draft pick is always going to be that top player, especially in football. You and I both know that. You can't ever give it up. Ever. In basketball, oh my God. For the Pistons to finally get the number 1 draft choice after all those years of being killed and being burnt, I was so happy. It's like the Red Wings. Can we please get the number 1 draft pick some way instead of number 4 or 6? I love Yzerman going, what the hell?
Got to earn it by tanking.
Yeah, I love Yzerman going,
I think the draft lottery should be
it's gone.
I want it out of here. Should be gone. Yeah, me too.
No, the NHL draft lottery.
It's a coincidence the Pistons won it earlier this calendar year. My God, wow.
I want the NHL.
We appreciated it, but we didn't need it. But we got Kate Cunningham.
Right. I want the NHL and the NFL and the NBA draft lotteries gone. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Go.
Here's what also grinds my gears: Detroit and Toronto, the Red Wings and Maple Leafs. They've been in the Atlantic Division since 2013.
Yes, sir.
Detroit and Toronto are not Atlantic cities.
No.
Gary Bettman should realize that. Look at the freaking map.
Yes.
That's why I made my division realignment concepts. And I'm going to dig them out right now. I'll be right back. Less than a minute. Let's see. There we go. Here's concept number 1. I know this is yep. Oh, let's see. I made up the golf division. This is called.
Yeah, the golf division is current. All the teams are current for where they need to be. The Red Wings in the golf division, along with Tim. Yes, I agree. That's perfect.
Arizona, and then the Atlantic Division.
And then the Atlantic, right. Yes, yep. I'm agreeing with all of it. The West, yep, I agree with all of them. Absolutely, yep. I agree with all of them.
Yeah. Here's concept number 2.
Okay.
Yep. This may look a little different. I know you're going to agree with concept number 1.
No, the
better
Pacific
than this,
Division
but
is okay with Seattle and the boys.
Midwest Division's the same.
Right. Midwest
Metropolitan Division. You just got the teams in the Northeast,
right?
And then the Atlantic Division.
Why don't we line them up this way? Is the way I look at it. Isn't this the way the Norris Division and the others used to be, guys? For the most part,
I guess it was in the past.
The Wild Northeast Division, yeah, that works. That actually is the
Northeast Division, yeah.
The Northeast Division, yes.
Man, it's like a tie, isn't it?
Yeah, either of them work for me. You cannot
Yeah.
keep the Red Wings where they are. It doesn't work. It doesn't. For also, you need to set these divisions up for travel. Travel has gotten expensive in the COVID world. You need to realign them the right way.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Yep. You need
I've been
to
saying this
realign
the
them.
whole almost decade.
Yep. Exactly. That's why when you have, for example, let's look at baseball. You have Detroit, you have Cleveland, you have Kansas City, you have Minnesota, and Chicago. That works.
Perfect.
Works for me. You have the Yankees, Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay. That works too.
Baltimore. Yep.
Baltimore.
That's
Yep.
on the
That
East
works
Coast.
perfect.
That's Atlantic.
Right. And the West is perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
We need to line it up the way that it should be. Now, if anybody tries to break up the black and blue division in football, then I'll kill them.
Right. The
I
NFC North is perfect.
No, I want the Lions.
That will never happen.
No, I want the Lions to stay in with Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even though we always finish last. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. Yes, I did.
Oh, you had to anyway.
Well, hey, now everybody's tied for first right now. Let's be honest. Let's have a good joke. Everybody's 0-1. Actually, the Lions are ahead of everybody. They scored the most points of anybody in the division. Unfortunately, they give up the most points too, but let's not go there.
Well, that's because of their defense. 34 out of 41. Goff threw a pick six, but he got back. But he got back on his horse.
The pick six, you know what? Even Matt threw that. Come on. I have no problem with one pick six every once in a while.
Right. Just one. Goff got back on his horse. 352 passing yards, 3 touchdown passes.
And it's a pass that he never should have thrown because of the way that the line was collapsing. Okay, he threw it, move on. It happens. There you go. Even Tom Brady has thrown how many pick sixes in his career. Give me a break, guys.
Right.
Nobody's going to make fun of my quarterback because he made one pick six problem. He made up for it. He led a good comeback. He tried. We are too far down, which is the history of the Lions. We're always too far down in the fourth quarter. You and I got used to so many Matt Stafford comebacks that he tried to do in the fourth quarter. But here's the thing. We never should have been that far down in the fourth quarter, but we had no defense all 13 years that Matt was here. None. Zero. So, of course, he's going to be down by 52,000 points by the time the fourth quarter hits. What'd you expect? This is and yes, are we still going to sell out Ford Field? Of course we are. We're always going to support the lovable losers until they become great winners.
Just because they love football. They love the Lions anyway.
Thank you. And it doesn't matter if Michigan went 0-11. It doesn't matter if Michigan State went 0-11 or Central or Eastern. Fans are still showing up. It's because of the love for football and the support.
Right. That's all they care about. They don't even care about the criticism, unlike we.
Now, if PJ would have stayed at Central,
we love him too, but we are willing to criticize too.
Yes, we are.
Unlike those dopey fans out there.
Yes, if we cannot criticize and justify our criticism while still supporting the team, there's something wrong with you and I. We're in the wrong business, as they say.
Right.
We don't belong where we are. Every team is open to criticism. Every player, every coach, even guys, I don't care if you're Miggy, JV, don't matter to me. They're open to criticism. That's why they're public sports figures. But
except Jim Harbaugh.
So, okay, what are you being mean to him for? You're being mean to Jimmy.
I'm kidding, but I'm also being honest as well.
Yeah, I am. Me too. I wish Jimmy would turn his ass around. I really would. I've liked him for too many years. He's such a nice guy to talk to as well.
Right.
And you know, I got to tell you, I love his brother. I love his brother. He's done such a great job in Baltimore, even though they lost last night. Ouch. But hey, look at the Raiders last night. I didn't expect them to win. They came back.
That was a battle.
That was
went to overtime. I saw the overtime period. I did.
That was a great pass too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He was just wide open, standing there. How you doing? Okay. If you would have missed that, time to cut him, boy.
Right.
Yeah, that was a perfect throw. And look, as I say to people, even though I'm from Detroit, even though all of us as Detroit fans, no matter across the board, we've grown up to love and respect other teams. I'm an original six guy. I got to admit it. I'm an original six in hockey. I always will. In baseball, I'm always going to be a Cubs guy. Always going to be a Boston Red Sox guy. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. In football, I'm going to love a lot of teams. Hell, whether it's the New Orleans Saints, just don't get me started on the Dallas Cowboys because I despise them. And why did I despise them? I think their owner is a piece of crap. I've never liked him. I think he's a worthless owner. I think any owner that wants to make himself a general manager and is on the field all the time should be shot. But that's just me. He should not be on the field. He never should have been on the field. But that's just me. People love him in Dallas. Jerry won us a couple Super Bowls. Sorry. If Dallas loses every game, I'm happy. That's how
I positive are the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Miami. I'm not a Miami Dolphins fan. I'm sorry. I'm not a Tampa fan. I'm not a Jacksonville fan. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an NFC Central fan across the board. Now, Kirk Cousins, of course, I love the fact.
Well, it's the NFC North now.
Right. I love the fact. I call it the Central. Boy, am I dating myself. Kirk Cousins plays in Minnesota. Yeah, I have to love him. I do love Brett Favre. I love great quarterbacks, good coaches. Baseball across the board. I don't care. Baseball's baseball. I don't care if it's the Tampa Bay playing Los Angeles in the World Series. I'm still going to be a fan of it. Even if I want Tampa to win, it doesn't matter who I want. It's still baseball. But ladies and gentlemen, especially Detroit people listening, you've had great years. We've had bad years. We've had a lot of bad years, but we've also had a lot of great years between whether it's hockey, whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball. In between, you're allowed to suffer. You're allowed to rebuild, except you just don't. I disagree, and I'll say it over and over again the way Al Avila did it. You just don't break down a team the way he did. The Pistons just fell apart because, that's the Pistons. Pistons fell apart because we had no decent GM. We had no decent ownership. You still don't have, I don't care. I don't consider Gores a great owner. You still don't have a good owner. The Red Wings, at least you have a good GM now. Ken Holland had to go. You got a good GM. Yzerman, he's proven that he can rebuild. That's a good thing. Oh, but look at Holland. He built, and then you got Jimmy Davilano. Jimmy Davilano has been around 700 years. I'm surprised the guy still is around, to be honest with you. Because he's much, much, much older than I am. He's got to be close to 80, 85 now.
Much older than Ken Holland.
Much older than Ken Holland. But Jimmy D came in and he built a winner. Of course, we had Scotty Bowman. He was great too. Look, fans,
won 9 cups.
Yeah, look, fans, we're going to be back in Detroit. Forget everything about Dr. Robert Anderson. I'm glad we've segued so far out because sports is all that counts. Sports is what makes us come together. Talking college, talking pros, talking sometimes Olympics. This is what keeps us together as people. This is what keeps the hate away in most parts. Yeah, we have our rivalries. We can say we hate Ohio State. We make fun of each other, but that's all we do. It's good rivalry. We make fun of each other. We're not shooting each other. We're not out there throwing crap at each other. We're not beating the hell out of each other in the stands at Michigan State.
Because that's just taking it too seriously.
No, exactly. You're not going to have malice at the palace anymore. Those days are over. That's enough. You're not going to have fans who are going to be throwing things anymore, really.
Right. Because otherwise they'll be sent to the police.
They'll be sent out. You're not going to have fans really running on the field anymore, although some idiots still try, like the naked guy at the Met Stadium the other day. What an idiot. Just don't do that. You're disrupting the game. That's not what fans
taser him.
For. And you know where I want him to be tasered, by the way. It's a nice where to aim as he's running. He'll go down quick. He won't be doing that ever again. He'll learn a lesson. Don't taser him in the back. Oh, no. He's naked. I know where you're going to taser him, and that's the best place to do it. Sorry, that's just the way I am. I love sports.
Inside the ballpark?
Yeah. Yes, I love the fact that you have a podcast like this, to be honest with you. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
It reaches out to the right people.
Yeah.
And just keep it going. That's what I have to say. And I know I've kept it going for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Hey, I'm here all night long, man. That's how I roll. That's how I expose the truth.
That's exactly. That's how I feel as well.
Spread the word about this and spread the word about our sponsor, the Vig It Sports mobile app, where great fans cover. Use the hashtag Great Fans Cover. Download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play if you have a smartphone. Sign up and type in the referral code STABLES, as you can see here, capital S, the rest of the letters being lowercase, including the letter B in the middle, as in billionaire, for Stables Media. Spread the word about Stables Media as well. Spread the word about everything. My podcast, Stables Media, the Vig It app, and its referral code STABLES. Download it from the Apple App Store or Google Play.
And again, you got a big fan here. I've always liked what you've done. I'm glad we were able to come together. I will get a hold of John as well. I'll get in contact with you privately so we can get him on as well, and we can continue the story forward.
Yes, please send him my way and others.
It is my
if
pleasure,
necessary.
sir. My pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Yes, and for Richard Goldman on Twitter, you can follow him on Twitter at Rich Goldman. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DT2Phillips, and follow the show on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. Like it on Facebook as the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, and follow it on LinkedIn. Also, a shout out to Cali Tickets for sponsoring the Detroit Sports Rag.
Absolutely.
Followed by Jeff Moss. Follow him on Twitter at HowAboutIt91. Visit his website at DetroitSportsRag.com and visit CaliTickets.com, or call 877-225-8425. That's 877-225-8425 to purchase tickets to go see one of their featured events. So with that being said, to everyone, thanks for watching, listening, downloading, and sharing. And remember, the truth is out there as we expose.
And let's keep bringing the truth out there to be exposed.
Yeah, you're always welcome to each and every one of our episodes.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Power to the people, hit them with a high, and we rest our case. Stay out of trouble. And Rich, I'll send you the link to each and every episode because you're always welcome.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.